Pirates Full Level System, Chapter 361 to 380. Chapter 361 Real Fake. Did she know you beforehand? Just as Chin Luo moved away, Momosagi's angry voice came from behind. Her voice seemed to be punched into the cotton, and she said, but the former walked very fast, and the figure flashed out in a few seconds, obviously did not hear Momosagi's words, but in her heart, she still felt that Chin Luo make her angry. It's not that he didn't hear it, but Chin Luo, who is quite feminine, feels that ignoring the other party like this will not make the other party proud. He walked out quickly and came to the woman's single room. Chin Luo really didn't want to know that this woman was obviously pretending to be Olivia, why she seemed to be able to calm down and even blatantly harass him. Are you all right? Chin Luo's vision soon saw a thin woman lying flat on the bed, just like a real person. If Chin Luo hadn't overheard the old Amazon clone, he would definitely not doubt this person in front of him. However, Chin Luo is really good at self-cultivation. Under the mask, his voice is calmer, as if he already has a certain degree of familiarity with the other party. Ah, God of flowing clouds. Olivia was inexplicably surprised and tried to stand up, as if the life-saving straw caught by drowning at the end was Chin Luo in front of him. Slow down, you just got your life back from the god of death, you need a good rest. Chin Luo said, his eyes flickered with gloom. He wanted to see through this woman's every move, but no matter how he looked at it, he couldn't see through his behavior. I'm fine, Lu Yunchen, I should have repaid you well. This time let you save me again, I am an incompetent companion. The other 33 companions of mine, all, woo. Olivia looked up and stared, her eyes were red, she covered her face with her hands, and started to cry. Chin Luo couldn't really judge what happened to the woman in front of him, but seeing her just now, she was exactly the same as the original Olivia. It was really deep, and there was no clue at all. Even if it was a clone, it should not frown. A cluster is so realistic. Of course, except for running out of her purpose just now, who was a little eager for success, the rest of the acting skills were well coordinated, just like a normal person. You want me to save your 33 friends, look at their appearance, and you are heading north as soon as you go out. I guess your 33 friends are all here at the moment. Marineford, are you going to be imprisoned in Impel Down? Chin Luo said, with the help of a mask on his face to hide the subtle changes in his eyes. When his voice was so clearly analyzing other people's intentions, he showed a burst of urgency. This was a decision made by psychological suggestion. Chin Luo was it's hard not to hate a liar. But what is even more embarrassing now is that after the man who looked like a bat vampire disappeared, he has no other clues, except for the fake Olivia in front of him. That is to say, only relying on this person in front of him can find the real one. At present, Chin Luokong has a lot of strength, but he doesn't know where to push his strength, and he can't find a more effective solution to this matter. Maybe this is what others say. Calculated Olivia was simply a big hole, and then Chin Luo had to jump in. However, the other party is also insidious enough. Even if he calculated Chin Luo like this, he must have laid a trap in front of him. If Chin Luo is allowed in, he will carry out a big encirclement and suppression, or even a buster call. However, Chin Luo sees it through but doesn't say it. Others may think it's too risky to know that there are tigers in the mountains, but for Chin Luo, when all the damage can be zero, the bigger the opponent's battle, the bigger the battle. The faster you hit the face. This is also the reason why Chin Luo calmly and voluntarily entered the pit. At that time, they will find that their bamboos and sharp knives can't kill people at all. Olivia looked stunned. You are too direct. I didn't finish my words. You directly revealed all my goals. Is it embarrassing? Your face is flushed, and you really behave abnormally. She looks excited, because from Olivia's point of view, if she saves his partner like this, she will definitely die of excitement. I walked in the door. I saw that Chin Luo had agreed to help Olivia go to the marine headquarters of the world government like Marineford to grab people. Momosagi's puffy cheeks became bigger, and the circles under his eyes were reddish. Sure enough, Chin Luo, I really liked the new and hated the old, and when there was no freshness in the past, I naturally abandoned her, and went in and out of Marineford for a woman. No, you can't just surrender your sovereignty like this. Hey, do you know that you will make me feel bad? Momoshiki also fought hard to swear his sovereignty. He was wearing a white tee with a low opening and a tight fit, but his eyes looked like the scoop fell on Chinluo's body. If in order to save this female companion, you were pushed into the siege of the marine, and you were collectively brushed by the boss, I'm afraid you would be flattered. When has Chinluo ever seen such a powerful wave of welfare? Although Momoshiki used to hold his hands in that place more slyly, but now there is one who leans forward. The unsatisfactory Chinluo's nostrils were hot and humid, and if there was any accident, there was no guarantee that a blood sword of a turtle-style Qigong old fellow with insufficiency of kidneys would be sprayed. I don't care, it doesn't matter. Chinluo's face was pulled by Momoshiki's nose, and he started talking nonsense. You don't know how dangerous it is to go inside. We are surrounded, what should we do? You can escape, but we can't. What about Rouge? What about Laboon? Momoshiki's face almost didn't explode. Luo's, why did he suddenly show off? So Chinluo's IQ was not online, and he agreed directly. Okay, I promise to let you see my wise and powerful appearance, and take you to Marineford for a trip. Last time I asked you to wait outside Marineford, I must not be able to enjoy the perfect scenery of Marineford. Wait, I will show you go and enjoy this magnificent scenery, just you and me, how? Chapter 362 Why do you still have many women? Chinluo pretended not to know Momoshiki's good intentions, but instead said this like a thorn against this little girl. At this moment, the whole sea level made of gastric juice slowly tilted up, and the first thing that came out was not Momoshiki, but the strange screams of the prisoners in the next room. You must know that they were sea stone. There is no self-protection ability on the body at all. If it falls into the ditch, it is just a piece of scrap iron, which is directly immersed in the sea. What happened? Rouge rushed in from the door. Even a strong woman turned pale after sharing this. If Laboon behaved abnormally, it was possible to drown them directly. Did we not catch a squid when we went down? Chinluo's forehead was hot, and the One Piece King of Pirates plot setting flashed in his mind. They forgot a very crucial setting, that is if they want to go down from Sky Island, the only way to go is to fall directly, but before they fall directly, they have an inflatable Squid 17, which can be turned into a huge parachute, so as to ensure that they will not be threatened. What squid? What squid are you talking about at this time? I told you not to go to Marineford, you still go, and now you'll be punished. Momoshiki didn't understand how all this happened, and directly pushed the reason for this story to Chinluo goes to Marineford. We are rushing to the Sky Island and falling into the Blue Sea. We have no choice now. We have to fall into the Blue Sea from here. After Olivia showed a terrified expression, she became nervous again. Look. Chinluo secretly asked, didn't this woman yell at him before that Chinluo was a pervert? How did it suddenly become similar to my dear? Could it be Chinluo's illusion? It seems that the clone thing in front of me still has a flaw because it has a mission. If it's really Olivia, I'm afraid I can't wait to kick Chinluo to death, because Chinluo, in her eyes, is the Golden Lion's companion who killed her 33 companions. Yes, Chinluo and Golden Lion are in the same group. Olivia's eyes. After observing this detail, Chinluo was not in a hurry to expose the other party's evil behavior. But said, you three stay here quietly, I believe Laboon will adjust it. Laboon. This place is more than 3 kilometers above the Blue Sea. If you fall, won't it turn into a persimmon? Momoshiki has never seen a Hulk fall from the sky, and the Golden Lion will spoil the Hulk, and when it falls, it will be like a piece of persimmon. Messy, how could it be said to keep Laboon in shape? Mature and steady like Rouge, she also has a pair of beautiful eyes on Chinluo at this moment. You must know that she is more nervous than Momoshiki. If she fails, it will be 1 corpse and 2 lives. This is Roger's only flesh and blood. Momoshiki and Rouge, who had witnessed so many miracles, looked nervous, not to mention Olivia, who was even more nervous. A dolphin, how can it fly in the air? This is unscientific. Unscientific, we're going to die, we're going to die. It's so noisy. Be quiet. Momosegi's mighty hockey sister called out. Wrong, everything communicated with the laboon in front of him. Laboon, don't lose your balance. Think about you swimming in the sea water that sets off your buoyancy, and now you are in the sky, then pretend to be in the air, and use that the breeze that blows, drags your body up. In fact, Chinluo is just making it up. He has slowly used repulsion and attraction in secret, and used the reconciliation of the two to create a kind of wind buoyancy to hold up Laboon, but this is all because there are outsiders, so only to recite such a bullshit buoyancy. If it is a terrifying figure like Laboon, there is only gravitational acceleration in midair. This is the world of pirates and not outer space, and the gravity can smash Laboon into a piece of persimmon. Momosegi was right about this. Of course, that's under normal circumstances, and now Chinluo's appearance is simply a bug. In less than 5 seconds, Laboon cried out happily. All the women were sighing endlessly. The three of them patted their chests and patted their foreheads, and supported their foreheads. They were all fierce people. The action of slapping their chests naturally turned into a beautiful landscape. Dead Satyr, Momosegi and Olivia noticed the dazzling flame in Chinluo's eyes at the same time. Women, in private, want to be seen enough by their men, and even smear them a few times, but that's not enough. The representative will let them do this directly outside, and this will become a slut. So when the two women saw Chinluo's appearance, they roared wildly and treated Chinluo as a pervert. Momosegi also threw the pillow out of the same hatred and hit Chinluo's figure. Chinluo exclaimed, "Oh," and then saw Rouge at the door resisting the pregnancy reaction for a while. Laboon's turning over and tossing. No matter how strong the woman is, she can't stand it, so she leaned against the wall and vomited, and then she saw Chinluo's treachery failed to succeed in the embarrassed appearance of being driven out, which made her happy. With a sad face, he thought of Roger in the past. Chinluo was embarrassed. After all, this time he was scolded by the same enemies of Olivia and Momosegi. This really makes Chinluo cry. 683. Didn't you just look at it a few times? Even if it's a fake, Olivia, it's a good idea. After a few glances, it's true. But think about it, if Olivia turns into an old vampire for no reason in front of him, then it's really a big game. He's not a geek, he's disgusting. Chinluo freshened up, put on a swimsuit and swimming trunks that he hadn't worn for a long time, and of course he still wore a mask on his face, and then walked out of the house. The ship doctor did a pretty good job. There were small islands, beaches, and blue sky. It is an open-air beach. Chinluo is on the beach chair, just to lie down for a while. Hey, boss, do you think that woman is very strange? Chinluo just lay down and was about to wander in his eyes when he heard a cat walking over from behind, taking his hands and feet. It sounds like Momosegi to the sound of his footsteps. He came to his ear and whispered. Woman. Which woman? Chinluo turned over lazily, and as a result, he was faced with a wave of huge benefits that was about to end in his life. She was leaning down to speak and just listen to him. Speak in her mouth. Bad omen now. Why do you still have many women? Tell me honestly. Momosegi is also a watcher. Get it right away. Chapter 363 Strongest Assembly Order. Chinluo's previous laziness immediately turned into a stiff reaction under the mask. This kind of reaction is normal. After all, this problem can kill a man thousands of times in minutes. And death without any compassion. Momosegi, you look into my eyes. What do you see in my eyes? Chinluo took off his mask, and then looked at Momosegi sincerely, without any psychological precautions. The mask was used to distinguish Chinluo from Luyun. Looking at this situation now, Chinluo took off the mask, but when facing the woman he loved, he felt that it didn't matter, but in the eyes of women it was different, because this means that the man loves him more and is willing to share the secret with her. Look, am I the only one who looks beautiful and cute in my eyes? Luo hurriedly used the plots of so many romance novels he had seen in the 20th century. A paragraph. Sure enough, as soon as he said this, Momosegi's cheeks showed a red cloud. You said how much I love you, that I want to miss you so much. Luo decided to add more weight. Yes, he did the same, and continued to steal from the 21st century romance novels. Fuck you, you will say some sweet words to coax me. Momosegi hurriedly blocked Luo, who was madly talking, or he might blow her into the sky later, and he was the only one in the sky and the earth. Category. She also knew that the man in front of her was absolutely extraordinary. It was normal to have a few women. She only needed to know that he had her in his mind. She and he were never supposed to be together. But they are together because she really loves him, that kind of humble love that doesn't need a name. Okay, let's get down to business. The girl we rescued, do you think it's weird? Momosegi concealed the joy in his heart. The pear vortex swirled softly, his voice was gentle, and he looked like a lover of a bird. Come here. Luo didn't say it clearly, but made an ambiguous gesture to make the other party come closer. Don't play tricks. Momosegi had a strong premonition of unease, but out of trust in Luo, she moved her pink cheeks over. I tell you, this woman is not simple, she is a clone, and her purpose here is to bring us. Luo's voice became more and more quiet, but the things he was talking about became more and more important. The taste was very strong, and Momosegi couldn't help but lean over. When Luo was about to finish speaking, she found that she had been kissed on the cheek. Hey, satyr, you. Momosegi didn't expect that Luo was so cynical at such a critical moment of being so solemn that it affected their life and death. Did you come here yourself? How can the duck legs that are put in your mouth fly away? Luo smiled. Go for a fight. You say, I don't look like a duck's leg, I'm obviously a swan's leg. Quote. Luo turned into an idiot for a second. So you care about this? What are you two playing here, so happy? At this time, dragging a weak body, he came out from the door, holding the door. Olivia's eyes quickly passed over the young men and women in front of him, and a flash of light flashed in his eyes. Struggle, but was instantly adjusted back. Ah! At this moment, the pregnant Rouge screamed first. Immediately afterwards, another unusual vibration rolled over. Ow! Laboon screamed again. Luo put on his mask, put on his clothes, put on a black robe, and the red auspicious clouds rolled and floated, but Ling Lai glanced at Olivia, but the other party gave Luo a stubborn look. Momosegi followed Luo's gaze and happened to see the stubbornness in Olivia's eyes, and the uneasy feeling in his heart was getting heavier and heavier. Just now, he said that someone planned to lure Luo to let Marine's headquarters drill. It definitely has something to do with the woman in front of you. The huge laboon can be bumped like this, and the pits involved in the opponent will definitely not be small. However, after Luo glanced at the other party, he did let out a snort lightly, dressed leisurely, and walked into the special passage of laboon. A burst of gastric juice gushed out and sent Luo to the top of the whale fountain water. Marine headquarters, Marineford. Today is definitely a battle that can go down in history. Inside and out of Marineford, nearly 300 battleships poured in from the 3 layers and 3 layers of the outer layer. These are all newly created marine battleships with the overlord of the sea. These marine battleships are claimed to be able to pass through the windless belt alone. The marine flag flutters in the wind and hides the sun. Columns of unyielding warriors of steel bear the heavy word, justice, behind their backs. Report to the Marshal. Marine Admiral led the Marine 200 Vice Admiral to assemble. Report to the Marshal. It's the huge whale you asked us to watch out for falling from the sky ahead. Attack it. Attack. The military situation at sea is like snowflakes. The ticket came in on the marine warship of the Marine. Today, Kong's expression is very dignified. Since the last meeting of the Gorosei 5 elders, the most evil forces, the sons of demons, the stupid scholars of O'Hara, will be wiped out, and the data they have researched in their hands will be completely annihilated. The highest level of Gorosei, 5 elders. The assembly order gathers all the troops that can be assembled in the vicinity, and the scale of warships alone has already reached 300. Arranged in a row, it can be used as an iron lock across the river, and each ship has added red cannons. This is a very powerful generation in terms of power and range. In addition, 200 vice have been assembled. Admiral, that combat power is absolutely earth-shaking. Whoever enters this encirclement, even if the Golden Lion can float in the air, depends on whether their artillery is willing to let him go. Judging from so many comprehensive data, this is a high-level obliteration operation than Buster Call. Because not long ago, when Kong was still going to O'Hara to kill the Sons of Demons, he received a notification from Gorosei, 5 elders halfway through, saying that a mysterious person provided information that the spiritual leader of the Sons of Demons, Orvalea, had on Sky Island. I joined the Flowing Cloud Pirates, but this time the Flowing Cloud Pirates only brought 4 crew members. But the Gorosei, 5 elders still issued the highest order mandatory assembly. That is, no matter where, no matter what task, no matter when, from the moment of receiving the assembly order, going to the assembly place at full speed, and accept the command of the assembly place commander without any hesitation. Chapter 364. One person picks the strongest Marine Assembly Order. Report to Marshal. Sengoku is in place. Report to the Marshal. Zephyr is in place. ... Immediately afterwards, a group of people dressed in the Wind of Justice stepped down from another ship and performed a standard Marine military salute to Marshal Kong. The first batch to come is Marine Admiral and the excellent Marine 16 Vice Admiral, including Marine S. hottest Sengoku, Zephyr, Garp, Kuzan, Kazaru, Akainu, Suru Vice Admiral and others, who are lined up in a row, majestic and majestic. The momentum of each person is like a rainbow, as if there is a sense of lingering from the sword drawn from them. Garp, who has always liked to eat senbei to work, has now also because the strongest assembly order is in front of him, so he doesn't dare to carry it in the slightest. Garp's eyes are not very good, but Huang Jian's phone bug is so obvious in front of them. Visible, Garp said inappropriately, want to use Buster Call. It's all here. Marshal Gang stood up from his seat, ignoring the fact that he only likes to eat senbei. Garp. Last time, the grandson just pushed him away from inviting him to be an admiral, which made Kong a little annoyed. So I don't like the grandson of Dolly very much. Anyway, there is no rift between him and Garp. 823, he made it now, let him face the difficulties, and directly recognized him as Admiral. Report to the Marshal, everything has been assembled. Sengoku made a standard Marine military salute, the report said. Everyone present was very serious, and no one paid attention to Garp because of this. At this time, I suddenly remembered the sound of a cannonball in the sky. Garp, Sengoku and others mostly gathered from a distance, and they didn't know Kong's overall deployment, so Garp just asked if going worms were used. Buster Call that used a going bug. Several shells exploded in the sky in an instant. Sengoku, how did this whale fly in the air? At this time, Garp was still asking inappropriate questions in his own way. I guess it must be related to the Golden Lion, after all, this kid can levitate objects. Zephyr replied, he also likes to study all kinds of warships, but this is the first time I have seen a whale, a battleship that looks like it. I guess that whale should be a living creature. It wasn't the hands and feet made by Golden Lion that floated in the air, but reminded me of a person. Suru Vice Admiral, wearing the cloak of justice, put his hand on his chin, and was calmly contemplating get up and think about how this has all changed. Isn't it a Golden Lion? A whale is a living creature. Garp's brain was not enough, so he quietly took out a senbei from his body and was about to go down. That's right. This floating cloud is carrying O'Hara's devil's son, Olivia, right in the belly of this whale. This whale is a living creature and its name is Laboon. The reason why he can float has a lot to do with floating cloud. Kong confided the information he had gathered now. Let me kick him with all the kicks and knock him down. Burn him into lava with rabid lava. Ice Age, sing to him with ice and snow. At this time, 3 shrewd and cracked young men came out of the line of young Vice Admiral. They were wearing yellow clothes, Kizaru, a kainu with floral lining, and Kuzan in blue clothes and windproof headscarf. The 3 of them looked at the sky with solemn eyes at the same time. You go. Kong didn't say anything and let the 3 admiral take the shot. These 3 have already played against Qin Luo. Compared with them, they already know each other's strength very well, so they will naturally be more cautious. Sengoku, Garp, the 2 of you are in the middle of cooperating. Unleash your most powerful attack, and be sure to obliterate the devil's son inside, and Lu Yun will not let him go. Now I have received the order of the Gorosei, 5 elders. Let me anyone who has been in contact with O'Hara will be wiped out. Marshal Kong waited for the 3 to leave, and then announced a heavy decision, which was undoubtedly a heavy bomb that fell around the people. Okay, take orders. Sengoku and Garp turned into 2 white shadows and cut through the sky. What's the matter? Suru Vice Admiral, S eyes flashed with solemnity. O'Hara Demon Son. From the outside data, isn't O'Hara a team of scholars? How could the Gorosei, 5 elders be so fearful? Suru Vice Admiral is not something you should think about. You should not go to investigate. The most important thing now is how to use 100 times the strength of the enemy and how to effectively attack the Lu Yun gang. Kong's eyes were wide and bulging. He must furious. This kid has also fought against him before, and is very powerful, so it is a very correct strategic move that they dispatched the strongest assembly order this time. When the other party falls from the sky, it will become a living target. Even if Laboon is taken down, we are afraid that no one is the opponent of the other party. Suru Vice Admiral's words only rippled in her mind for a while, and even aroused the fear of a storm in her heart, but she was still adamant. Silent. My God, look at the marshal, they want to run. Yeah, that big whale is running away now. I'm afraid it won't last long, right? It seems that the other party is also afraid, and he said that Lu Yunshan is a lie. At this time, the eyes of the people around them immediately flashed with a fanatical smile, as if this was the feeling of the goddess of victory taking care of them. However, the sharp-eyed people also discovered a strange thing, that is, after the big whale was flown away by a mysterious force, they saw a dark shadow flickering down there. Well, that's one person. Who could it be? He's wearing black clothes all over his body, his black robes are surging, and there are red auspicious clouds on it. Wouldn't this person want a single person to stand up to the full force of our Marines? It was further discovered in the crowd that the other party turned out to be a person, and it would be a living person. At this moment, just like a glider, it slid straight into the center of their Marine assembly. That is, on top of Kong's head at this moment. Wouldn't he want someone to stab Marine's strongest assembly? Suru Vice Admiral suddenly flashed such a ridiculous image in his mind. The man escaped many stray bullets alone and landed on the deck of the warship in front of him. But he was rebellious and looked at everyone with contempt. Qin Luo, who did not know that they had assembled so many troops, came out of the special passage where the whales were spraying water in a few steps, and only after one head came out, he smelled a strong smell of gunpowder, whimpering. Just a moment of hesitation, a steel ball cannonball brushed across his forehead. Chapter 365 Sengoku's speech. Qin Luo was furious in his heart, and his eyes were about to burst into flames. Don't these bastards know that this will hurt Laboon? Because Laboon didn't have a full-level physical body, he would definitely be bruised all over his body after being bombarded with such shells. Almighty push. Quickly jumped into the air, jumped under Laboon's abdomen, and then used the gravitational repulsion in his body to push him suddenly. The huge repulsion and gravitational force acted on Laboon, like a sailboat that encountered the wind, rushing away against the wind. A violent force poured out and quickly pushed Laboon away. Qin Luo carefully controlled the energy in his body and turned into an invisible barrier that flickered in the sky above, and was scrambling to arrive at this time. The cannonballs poured in. The onlookers were also stunned. This person must have iron head skills, and he actually wants to use his head to hit such a big whale. Isn't it stupid? The dense cannonballs roared from the sky like raindrops. Qin Luo stepped forward and smashed into the void that surrounded Qin Luo's head. The eldest brother with his eyes wide open looked round at this miraculous scene. "Is this a floating cloud?" said a man in the marine crowd wearing a marine vice admiral badge, a cloak of justice, and a piece of grass on his face, with one eye squinting in the air like a god and Buddha, the figure that can be ignored. Could this person be a combination of piao piao fruit and gen gen fruit? Otherwise, he is so powerful. What is this? It is said that he has completely destroyed the holy land of the world government once before. The vice admirals began to whisper, and Qin Luo in front of him was like a huge mirror, reflecting the fears in everyone's hearts, and the things in front of them surprised them too much. Sengoku. At this time, Kong was expressionless, and others could not see the depth and thoughts in his heart. There was a scar on his face that had not healed. This scar was still a souvenir that Qin Luo left him last time. Report. Marshal Kong. I believe we are fully prepared this time. Even if 10 clouds come over, we can guarantee that this kid will be completely smashed into pieces. You must know that this kid raided our marine last time. Headquarters, attracted the main cadres of our marine headquarters, and then we carried out a brutal blow to the other party, and that incident caught us by surprise, so he won such a victory. First, they glanced at the dazzling enemy in the sky, and then there was a stern look in their eyes. What happened last time was really a shame for their marine headquarters, but they believed that it was just their mistake. However, this time is different, their marine has purposefully assembled. And this time, a mysterious person tipped them off. In terms of intelligence, they have the most favorable form, and this time they can become the final big winner. So they carefully designed this game. Sengoku, please evaluate it carefully. Last time, this kid caused a lot of damage to our marine headquarters. At this time, Garp heard Sengoku's analysis, and he could not help but frown slightly, and the senbei dessert in his hand had stopped moving. Obviously attracted by Sengoku's remarks. These are all obvious, and they must have been fully analyzed. They and Kizaru, Kuzan, and Akainu have not seen it before, and the fights around them have not been cheap. Are you going to do it this time? It's different. The last time the other party attacked our marine headquarters, the other party was prepared, but we were not prepared, so naturally we would make a lot of mistakes. This time is different. This time we took the initiative to call all marines. We can completely surround him. Have you seen it? There are 40,000 soldiers and hundreds of warships around us. Every warship is a 1-2. At this time, Sengoku made a generous statement and watched his best partner Garp come out to doubt his planning ability, which made people angry and a little irrational. Garp just glanced at it and stopped talking. Luyun was too powerful, so powerful that it could affect Sengoku's judgment. That's right. We have 40,000 colleagues, and even a single spit can drown him. There are so many of us. We are prepared, but we are unprepared, and that's a matter of getting twice the result with half the effort. Kizaru and Akainu joined in one after another. Although they were also very afraid of Luyun, in the end, Luyun is just a person now, even if he calls himself a god. It is estimated that there are only a few more devil fruits. At most, he broke the convention that only one devil fruit can be eaten, but it does not mean that this person is invincible. As long as it is human, he will have weaknesses. Even a god, he has weaknesses. The last time they lost, they were unprepared, and the opponent caught them by surprise. They couldn't compare their previous record with today's. We won't be limited by our previous record. Today we are ready for everything. As long as we push forward, we can besiege him to death. They Marines can't believe this evil. More and more people in the crowd listened attentively to Sengoku's voice and listened to Sengoku's speech about how they could defeat the enemy today, which made their fighting fever fully mobilized, and they believed that today would definitely be a worthy event. Memorial Day. If we defeat Luyun, we will throw this person into the deep sea hell, and let him enter the 6th floor of the infinite hell. We will never see the sun. No, hang his head on the marine flag in the marine headquarters. This will not only destroy Luyun, but also humiliate his companion families. Sell Lu Yun's descendants, women as prostitutes, and men as coolies. Or castrate, and be a slave to those Tenryubito. Give him the brand of a slave on his back. Let those who help Lu Yun become evil people who will be cast aside forever. At this time, Akainu gritted his teeth and stood up. The first time he saw Lu Yun, he felt that his body could not help shaking again, but now after Sengoku's well-founded analysis, he understands that he is with Lu Yun today. It's not the same as it used to be. He hates Qin Luo and the bird man who is aloof. Originally, he was the best person here, the best vice admiral in this world. But I didn't expect that this person named Lu Yun who was killed halfway would lose his face as soon as he came. If not, he is already qualified for admiral. So he was unwilling, he must kill Lu Yun himself. Chapter 366_cannonballs should also be exchanged with respect. Yes, that's right, we can't increase the prestige of others and destroy our own ambition, we are not what we were before. Today, we use the strongest assembly order. There is only one purpose, and that is to kill Lu Yun in midair. Everyone obey. Form a team of 10 people. Start the wheel attack on Lu Yun. Don't leave any gaps. Use 20 warships as a group to bomb Lu Yun in 3-dimensional space. Even if you can't kill Lu Yun, you can use up his power as much as possible. Sengoku clanged, and orders followed by the sound of booming artillery fire, unfolded. The strongest attacking order. Who will come with me? Only 10 people. There was only that vulgar figure in front of him. He was so excited that he pinched his fingers, and a series of explosions sounded from his phalanx. This time, his goal was not clear. Yun really killed him, but he also humiliated Lu Yun in the way of chaotic fighting. Sengoku raised the cloak on his body, threw it wildly, and shouted behind the crowd. Me, the first. Raising his arm and shouting loudly, Akainu roared, his clenched fist turned into a bright red flame at this moment. This is a shocking fire fist. How can such a scene be so rare that my light speed kicks? Following standing up wearing a fiery red shirt, it was Kizaru. Kizaru was wearing black sunglasses today, looking even more handsome, biting a stick in his mouth cigar, arms crossed. Hey, there's really no way, it looks like I'm going to be dispatched too. Among the 3 outstanding young vice admiral, the most lazy is this Vice Admiral Kuzan in an ice blue shirt and a headscarf. Lazy stood up and said in a very troublesome tone. However, unlike the others, he secretly glanced at the flowing clouds in the sky, and in a trance, he couldn't help blocking the sunlight with his hands. In a trance, he felt that this person called Lu Yun was standing very high, so high that even if he could hit him, he would not have enough strength to hit him. It's a very intuitive feeling. Okay, I'll go too, let this kid have a long memory, the world is not what he wants. It's okay if he's a man, but he's still a little bit worse after all, he can only be a jumping clown. Garp bit off the senbei in one bite. Garp finished eating the senbei in his hand, and stood up without raising his arms and shouting, but some were a fierce battle, and the stronger it was, the stronger it was. This is the legendary Vice Admiral Garp the Fist. And me, Lipton. And I, Enki. And Mai Suru. In an instant, 10 people were gathered. These 10 people flew up, and their clothes were fluttering. All of them were those important battle robes of justice that hovered and danced from their bodies. These robes filled the air, as if they were open like a solemn ceremony. We're going to smash that bastard away. 10 people suddenly shouted in their hearts. The shells in the sky began to decrease with their arrival. Qin Luo could see that the strategies arranged by these people had changed a lot. Seeing that this army was almost covering the entire ocean, Qin Luo felt like he was a big head. The fat sheep fell into a wolf's den, and it was really all wolves. Of course, such a thing is just a momentary thought of Qin Luo. In fact, Qin Luo's ability alone can solve all these scenes. It's almost as if a wolf fell into a dense flock of sheep waiting to be slaughtered. This is more in line with the facts. Hey, are you going to drop bombs in the air? Don't you think it's a waste? You can't even touch my hair. Qin Luo sneered, the corners of his mouth curled up, and the plot developed to this point. Chinluo had already figured out who the person who dared to calculate himself was. This person is really abominable. He just ran out of Sky Island and prepared such a big gift for himself. Just now Chinluo was watching where the little fish and shrimps in marine were discussing something, but he didn't expect these people. They looked scared, but somehow, they actually boosted their morale again. I really don't know where these people's confidence come from. Killing Tenryubito, destroying the Holy Land, destroying the marine government, these days of great shame, have these people forgotten? Or was he too kind to them before, so that they even forgot that they should respect the identity of the creator of the three major shames of marine and the world government? Chinluo turned around abruptly, and saw a huge black ball appearing in front of him. He said just now that these people don't need money for firing shells, but he didn't expect these people to throw them over. The trick of throwing shells is probably Garp's right. Since I'm here, I'll play with you. I had already guessed in my heart that this move was Garp's famous stunt, the bone-falling pitcher. Chinluo didn't retreat like the average person, but caught up and stretched out a hand directly. Stinky boy, don't run away if you have the ability. Garp was only halfway through his sentence, and his mouth widened and couldn't close. It was too appalling. This person in front of me is just a pervert. Hu Kai. I saw that the man didn't dodge or dodge, and handed over a pair of pink and tender fleshy palms, as if handing a tissue over, and reached out directly. That big black ball was a specially made huge one. The bomb, which is specially offered to him, Garp throws. I didn't expect this person to be ready to pick it up with his bare hands. I really don't want to live. There is so much high-speed rotation ability on it, and now Chinluo stretched out a palm, making a violent rubbing sound, and the strong cyclone pressure surged out, blowing Chinluo's clothes directly. As a courtesy, I'll give you Garp back. You're good at bowling, but it's a pity that even children can play. Seeing the uncertainty on Garp's face, he already knew that he was in his heart as well as to himself. The cannonball has no bottom, so Chinluo doesn't have to give the other party face. It is better to dispel the other party's idea directly. Touch. As Chinluo's words fell, the cannonball came out of his hand. The iron bullet originally stayed in Chinluo's palm, but this time, like a wild horse, it sprinted out directly towards the dense marine fleet. Ah, run! That's an extra large cannonball. When it hits our ship, people in the ship will be shattered. The crowd on the warship near where the shells landed swarmed out and jumped into the sea one after the other. Hey! At this moment, a vice admiral holding a pair of knives, a person with curled eyebrows, his hands trembled, his knives interlaced, and directly turned into two interlaced white lights that flashed out in the air, and the knife light passed by. After that, 4 sounds of falling into the water were heard. Chapter 367 Frustration. It turned out that these 4 sounds were the sound of the oversized cannonball being chopped into 4 parts, and the chopped cannonball fell into the water and then exploded. This time is worthy of being the strongest assembly order. Just an ordinary vice admiral already has such strength. Marine around saw that vice admiral was so brave, and in addition to admiration, he was full of confidence in the strongest assembly order this time. Marine wins. Aiyo, the people you recruited this time. Chinluo's face is still the mask that keeps strangers away, but his eyes are already calm, as if the scene that just happened didn't attract his attention. Chinluo continued, I really have no quality. All the rubbish is thrown into the sea, which pollutes the environment. Okay. Garp, who threw a bone bomb out, was surprised when he saw Chinluo caught a high-speed rotating bomb with his bare hands. But I didn't expect Luyan to immediately say that the marine who was summoned this time is not qualified. What is this all about? Is Luyan forcibly mocking Marine? He said these things at such a time. It seems that he didn't feel Marine's game against 17. 1 second Garp just wanted to let Luyan know Marine's determination, but the next second Zephyr's answer completely left Garp speechless. Yeah, today's students are getting more and more difficult to teach, and their quality is less and less. Hearing Chinluo's complaints, Zephyr felt the same way. Zephyr is bringing a new batch of students recently, and the overall quality of the students has declined. People are scattered, the team is not easy to lead, even the students are not respectful, and the children of those high officials are getting more and more competitions. What is this called? Zephyr, pay attention to the occasion, don't talk to this person, just give it to me. Sengoku showed a solemn look on his face, and gradually became fierce. Sengoku clenched his fist tightly. This cloud is still as mad as before, such a person must not be kept, and this is a rare opportunity for Marine to succeed in this action. Let me come. Lava flame car. Akainu rose into the air, turned into a huge lava beast. A huge fist turned into the shape of a flame car. The flames shot into the sky, the heat exploded, and the space around 50 meters had some subtle changes, as if the entire space had been scorched and wrinkled. The violent force rolled up, causing the expression on Akainu's face to become a little strange, becoming extremely red and bright. Have you been kicked by the light? A yellow light flashed out and turned into a child of light. The intense high temperature and extremely fast speed showed the powerful strength of a person with the ability to be a shining fruit. The two of them were originally on Chin Luo's left and right. At this time, they launched a charge at the same time. They had already obtained Sengoku's acquiescence, a powerful offensive, with the speed of light on one side and the terrifying high temperature on the other, bombarding them directly. Just like the expressions of the two of them, Kizaru showed a strong hatred, and Akainu's face was full of arrogance and fury. Their goal was only one, to kill Lu Yun. Bump. Fire. Mouth twitched, Kizaru Akainu tried his best to show off himself, but in front of Chin Luo, he was like two disobedient children dancing in front of the teacher. As a teacher, it is natural to educate such children well. Chin Luo contemptuously didn't even lift his eyelids. You scumbags, haven't you recognized your current level and strength? Then you must have heard of level suppression. I am now a father who kills with a single knife, do you know? Facing the fire and the light, the baptism of Chin Luo, relying on the full level flesh, directly reached out and grabbed the two fluidized things, and the lava and light were directly pressed into the air by Chin Luo. Chin Luo has not learned hockey for the time being, but it does not mean that Chin Luo cannot hurt the two of them. Chin Luo has various ways to concoct those with natural fruit ability. Why is this guy alright? Kizaru showed a touch of unease, but Lu Yun didn't put pressure on their marine for a day or two, so he wouldn't be discouraged so quickly, just another light speed kick. Dad. And Akainu started to feel stupid, he still didn't understand what the other party just said, what that bloody father was. That's right, son, you're really good. Chin Luo Gang used a group ridicule skill, which made the Marines below angry, and pulled a handful of hatred. Hey! Flash of yellow light, Kizaru immediately showed his body and kicked it out, but how could Chin Luo be hit by this kick? Although the light was fast, Chin Luo was well prepared and stretched out one hand, turning his fist into a palm. Grabbing Kizaru's ankle, he shouted, "Big windmill." A turn, Kizaru was thrown wildly. Before Kizaru could react, he was thrown out and smashed directly into Kuzan's face. Kuzan encountered a sudden situation, his face was still languid, but the corners of his eyes twitched. Such an inconceivable disaster can happen to him, it's really unbelievable. Kuzan had already planned to use his ability to freeze Kizaru, but Kizaru reacted in an emergency, turned into light in midair, and passed directly through Kuzan. Seeing Kizaru's reaction, Kuzan saved him a lot of trouble by freezing Kizaru. However, as Kizaru was thrown out, the attention of the Marines also went to Kuzan. All the Marines looked at Kuzan, Kizaru and Chin Luo. Kuzan spat out a trouble, knowing that paddling was impossible, and was forced to join the battle by 310. A thick glacier, taller than a man, spread from Kuzan's feet. Senhan's breath came out crazily. It soon touched Chin Luo's body. Oh, are you tired of fighting like this? I'm tired even standing. Sengoku, is this the only level you designed so carefully? The strongest assembly order in your mouth is so boring. Something. Sengoku, you haven't made a move, are you afraid of me? Luo broke the ice at will, and then the glaciers spread out from both sides of him, and an ice road crossed directly across the sea in his field of vision. Luo's voice fell, and his mighty aura was like a hammer to the man with the seagull hat on his head in front of him. The huge pressure made Sengoku seem to bend his waist. Sengoku trembled with his hands. Not wrong, this time all the planning started with an intelligence. Kong got a letter from a mysterious person. It is said that this mysterious person is the Red Earl, and it is said that this person is so strong that one person can pick out the entire Whitebeard pirates. It was this person's report that rekindled Sengoku's fighting spirit, wanting to issue the strongest summoning order, and then besieged Luyun and beat him to death. But everything didn't develop as planned. The Luyun in front of him was more powerful than he imagined, 100 times more powerful, and even many powerful means Luyun did not show. Chapter 368 Sengoku also plays a breakthrough. How are you? Are you depressed? Are you helpless? I stand and let you fight. I don't think you can do anything to me. How could Luo not understand these Marine's little thoughts, that little juju? But can he, Luo, be able to gather fire and destroy it with a lot of people? Full-level physical body, full-level eyes, full-level gravity, etc., which skill can not end them one by one? The corners of his mouth twitched. Luo intends to mock Marine recklessly to further damage their confidence. Especially Sengoku, who thinks he has a Kai bead in his hand. Luyun, don't you think we're afraid of you? You're the only one. Although Sengoku was under great pressure, he knew that Luyun was taunting Marine now. Going down so many times, Sengoku or Marine has already been subdued by Luyun. The difference in strength is like cloud and mud, and now there is only endless humiliation. The trembling pupils had already exposed Sengoku's humiliating anger. Scenes of memories flashed in front of his eyes constantly, as if he had become a nightmare who was never willing to face but could not get rid of, which made him uncomfortable and tortured his spirit forever. But the remaining dignity makes Marine unwilling to admit it, especially since Sengoku is still the main planner of this plan, let alone bowing his head so easily. This world does not exist for one person, it is a world that relies on the strength of the group to live. Many things can only be accomplished by relying on the strength of the collective and relying on trusted partners. There are too many things like this, and the more difficult it is, the more necessary it is. The strength to unite others is to trust them. Quote, Luyun, if you think you can fight against the whole world, then you are wrong. And you are very wrong. It will only make you conditioned and hindered by the rest of the world. And now, you are our Marine. The biggest problem facing you, no matter how powerful you are personally, can't knock down our collective. Quote. Sengoku is an excellent speaker, even with a trembling voice that still resonates with Marine and boosts morale. Yes, that's the truth. Their Marine has now assembled all the people and launched the Marine's strongest assembly order. The purpose is obviously to unite all those who can unite. This is not an exercise, they are here for the purpose of hitting Luyun. Unconsciously, the Marines regarded themselves as warriors who came to slaughter Arlong, and an aura of glory even though they died was brewing in the Marine. Then you are great, then I'll tell you another truth, that is, when there are more ants, you are still an ant. In the face of absolute power, you are just one of many ants. Hit a stone with an egg, beyond self-control. Quote. Looking at Sengoku's performance, the expression on Luo's face has not changed. When the other party mentioned the strength of the team, he couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Ordinary soldiers. Oh, you're not just an ant, you're also a good performer. In my opinion, Sengoku, you're just a coward. Put aside your rhetoric, after all, you're a coward. You're just a coward. In fear, you have gathered so many people, and you are still afraid. Your mouth is much stronger than your strength and courage. Quote. The corners of Luo's mouth twitched. The cold tone and cruel reality seemed to turn into a powerful shock wave and hit Sengoku's chest directly, bursting his chest as if the hammer fell to the ground. He peeled off the coat that Sengoku had been trying to put on himself, revealing his incompetent side bloody in front of the Marines. Ah! A flash of golden light, Sengoku roared loudly, and soon white air rose up around his body. This smoke surrounded Sengoku, making it so mysterious. Although it is a thin mist, it gives people the feeling that the person inside cannot be seen through the mist. Brewing, it is a heart-pounding power. No, yes, coward, husband. A golden figure loomed out of the gray mist. In Qin Luo's field of vision, there soon appeared a golden Buddha whose whole body was full of destructive power and was trembling just by looking at it. The cracks on the deck of the warship at the foot of the golden Buddha spread out like a spider web with Sengoku as the center. Hiss. Under great pressure and crisis, Sengoku's strength has been broken through, and the power of momentum and fruit has continued to rise. As expected of Sengoku, Kaiheng and Luffy are almost the same. However, Qin Luo didn't care, and let everything continue to change and develop, without the slightest idea of stopping it, allowing Sengoku to continue to accumulate momentum. He also wondered how far Sengoku could, at least surprise him. Sengoku Admiral, come on, let everything boil. Sengoku will always be our admiral. He is the leader of our team. Hit Lu Yun to the ground ruthlessly, please go up. We will always be your most solid backing. You are like a green mountain, and I am like a pine and cypress. Marine saw that Sengoku was about to break through, just like the protagonist in a hot-blooded novel, completely crazy. They were even completely inspired by Sengoku's so-called exciting words. You can see that Sengoku Admiral broke through after saying that, this is not deceiving. Even if nothing actually happened, they were willing to believe that it would all work together to achieve the justice their Marine wanted. They even felt that the god of flowing cloud, who was like a god in their eyes before, who gave them a lot of bad memories, would eventually be hit by their collective strength. But in fact, the existence of Lu Yun is simply not something they can handle, or even understand, and their weakness limits their imagination. By Sengoku, they were even blindly confident, so much so that they thought Qin Luo didn't do it because of fear and caution. In fact, Lu Yun just looked at them with disdain. The golden figure directly transformed into an 8-meter-high golden giant Buddha relying on the Buddha fruit. The powerful offensive and defensive capabilities have been doubled in ability after being embodied. Marine executives had previously felt that Sengoku's abilities had been thoroughly exploited, but this time it refreshed their perception of Sengoku Admiral's strength. Sengoku's golden eyes stared at one person, and that person was Lu Yun. Chapter 369 Attack Net. Lu Yun, I'm not a coward. Neither is Marine. With a flash of golden light, the shock wave of the golden Buddha rushed out and flashed directly towards Qin Luo, but Qin Luo remained motionless, as if he did not know that the other party had released the Buddhas so-called enough to directly smash a huge ship. Shock wave. In the eyes of the Marines, Lu Yun didn't have time to dodge, and in a panic, he raised his hand to block the shock wave of the Buddha. The shock wave in Lu Yun's hand hadn't dissipated yet. At the moment Lu Yun made contact with the shock wave, Sengoku turned into a stream of light, and his right fist suddenly charged towards Lu Yun. Only then did Lu Yun resist the huge impact of Sengoku Buddha's shock wave, and then he saw Sengoku's figure disappear from the deck, and then appeared in front of him. Bowing like a boiled shrimp, with a loud "Boom," it flew straight away from being hit. Good job. Okay, that's it, Sengoku Admiral. Leave a little residue and let us go up and chop a few knives, fight for glory, and let Lu Yun taste the strength of our unity. The energy on the golden giant Buddha's body was surging and churning, and from time to time a dazzling golden light shot 390 times. Sengoku turned into a streamer and disappeared again, chasing after Qin Luo, who was flung away. Qin Luo was caught in midair by a golden bergamot hand that was bigger than a human being, as if he had been captured by the Tathagata Buddha using Wujishin to capture the sun monkey. But even if Sengoku is really the Buddha, Qin Luo is definitely not a grandson. With a click sound, Sengoku grabbed Lu Yun's hand and slammed hard, and Sengoku's hand made a crisp crack between the bones and joints because of the force beyond the normal. At this time, the fate of the person who was pinched in Sengoku's hands can be imagined. Many Marines can imagine the scene of Lu Yun being pinched into minced meat, and blood and flesh splashing. In the slight anticipation and anxiety of the Marines. Well, what they expected did not happen. Instead, Sengoku looked constipated, like someone who failed to break apples with one hand and walnuts with one hand. But it didn't matter. The witty Sengoku naturally threw Chinluo in the air, then quickly waved his hands. Burst shockwave. Hundreds of simplified Buddha's shockwaves hit Chinluo in an instant, knocking Chinluo flying again, and Sengoku followed closely. Could this be the Sengoku version of the wireless combo? Chinluo refused this boring combo mode. If someone can see Chinluo's expression through the mask, they will find that Chinluo, who can't help flying around, looks injured, and his face is completely calm. So even if Sengoku can become Tathagata, Chinluo cannot be cured. At this time, Chinluo didn't have the kind of embarrassment that Sun Monkey was seen through, and there was only a funny smile at the corner of his mouth. Looking at the Sengoku who was attacking him so hard after the breakthrough, Chinluo couldn't help but feel a very strong feeling in his heart. Funny feeling. Even after the breakthrough, Sengoku was still too weak. Seeing how he was sitting in vain, Chinluo had some expectations. Then Sengoku knew his expression when his attack was completely ineffective. Chinluo's contempt was seen by Sengoku, and he felt something was wrong when he pinched Chinluo before. Therefore, Sengoku did not continue the pursuit, but instead stepped out and left Chinluo casually, turning into a streamer and returning to the warship to be on guard. However, Sengoku stopped himself, but the wave of attacks he brought did not end. As soon as he returned to the warship, Sengoku commanded the Marines to attack together. One echelon, Zephyr led the team, leading 9 Vice Admiral to deliver the strongest blow. The second echelon, led by Marshal Kong, led 9 Vice Admiral to send out the strongest long-range assistance. The third echelon, led by Kuzan, and led by 9 Vice Admiral will inevitably surround all of Lu Yun's retreats. Quote. Just a few seconds, Sengoku, who stepped out, immediately arranged new tactics. He called up hundreds of vice admirals to arrange strategies and tactics one by one according to the combat characteristics of each general. All vice admirals are combined according to the melee type, the distance output type, and the auxiliary type. The first is the powerful combat power led by Zephyr and Kong. Their attacks turn into ferocious dragons and white tigers. The intersection of dragons and tigers generally sends out towards Chinluo the strongest attack. And long-range strike echelon, there are not only the violent Akainu Magma Great, Major Eruption, Kuzan, S Glacial World, Kazaru, S Yada Mirror, Sengoku, S Own Full Buddha's Shock Wave, and Garp, S Fistbone Meteor Group, etc., they all spewed out towards Chinluo, and they all wanted to get rid of the clouds in the air. The entire sky where everyone is located is filled with the glare of various powerful attacks, and there is no gap to be found. At this time, Marine had the strength of Vice Admiral and had the means to attack Chinluo. Everyone surrounded Chinluo and directly sent out the strongest force and attack on him. Red, white, yellow, black, and different colors of energy burst out from the hands of different abilities, forming powerful drills. It gushed over and instantly drowned Chinluo like a tsunami. Chinluo, where the strength and attack converge, has become the center of the powerful vortex, and it seems that even the space is distorted. Sengoku successfully organized a series of attacking rhythms and surrounded Chinluo for several minutes of continuous attacks. Lu Yun is dead now. No one can survive this attack unless he is really a god. Come on, this kind of attack, hundreds of Vice Admiral, and all the top Marines, even if the gods are going to fall. I think this Lu Yun may not have moved when he was attacked by Sengoku Admiral. It is estimated that he would have died at that time. At this moment, many officers just want to smash Lu Yun to ashes. The surrounding Marine soldiers looked at the sky as if the end was coming, and they all gave Lu Yun a death certificate in their hearts. The Marine soldiers who didn't know the situation were about to start celebrating Lu Yun's death, and the joy of defeating Lu Yun appeared on them in advance. Although these soldiers did not participate in the attack, they all felt that they participated in Lu Yun's killing, proving the power of unity. The weak always use the strength of solidarity to cover up their weakness, nothing more. Lu Yun must die this time. Looking at the fire in the sky in front of him, followed by a wave of icy energy, each time a powerful death guillotine fell on Qin Luo's body. Olivia's expression is very rich, but no matter how rich, some are only excited about Qin Luo's death, not the love-hate relationship shown before. Chapter 370 Mortal Attack. If Qin Luo's current expression of this, Olivia, is seen by Qin Luo will immediately realize that the person in front of him is definitely not the Olivia. He knows, this is definitely a fake and shoddy product. However, Qin Luo may not be able to realize that this Olivia was cloned. After all, even if they are cloned, they will not know each other so well. Furthermore, even if the clones are similar, can memories be copied out of thin air? Unless Olivia really tells her all about herself, it is impossible to imitate it so vividly that it has no flaws. At this time, everyone, whether it was Marine or whoever saw this scene, was full of hope to defeat Lu Yun. Retreat. Everyone retreats. At this moment, after all the Admiral and Vice Admiral ended a powerful attack, the figures of Marine Vice Admiral and Admiral turned into a ray of light and quickly retreated. Both Marine Vice Admiral and Admiral have clearly seen the current situation. For them, the most important thing is to solve the current cloud. Although the previous attack was fierce, it was not enough. According to Sengoku's strategic conception, Marine will offer Lu Yun a round of artillery baptism after these attacks, and the whole army will open fire, seeking to defeat or kill Lu Yun directly. Ready for artillery. All battleships ready. Fire. Sengoku removed his transformation, the golden color on his body faded, and his figure returned to its original size, quickly returning to the appearance of a normal person. Then, in the final moments before the transformation was released, Admiral Sengoku moved quickly and landed on his own ship with a dim golden light shining. Sengoku pointed at Lu Yun in midair, tensed his muscles and roared frantically with his loudest voice, "This blow will kill Lu Yun completely." Inexplicably, Admiral Sengoku, who was originally high-spirited, could not help but tremble in his heart. Even Sengoku himself didn't understand why he had such a reaction. Does it represent joy and the excitement of victory? Or will he finally kill the abominable Lu Yun and let Sengoku feel the thrill of revenge he has never had before? Or is it a kind of complacency that the weak overcome the strong and commit the following crimes? No. Has the nightmare experience in the past made Vice Admiral Lu Yun in his mind as the invincible god? Neither is. That tremor gave Sengoku an ominous premonition. Boom boom boom. Although Sengoku had a little bit of hilarity in his heart, 2 points of fear, 3 points of excitement and other complicated emotions. But this did not prevent the rest of the Marines from accepting the order that was delivered to them like an iron and strictly implementing it. In an instant, all the warships, thousands of artillery guns blasted towards Qin Luo, and a large amount of smoke floated into the sky, covering the Marine warship. And the sky where Lu Yun was located was instantly lit up by the firelight of the explosion. Fragments of fire can't see the gap, revealing a dazzling and powerful look and feel, turning into a never-ending killing, dispersing and destroying all objects in the sky. The firelight devoured everything, even the air was evacuated, and all matter was nowhere to be seen. The position of the flowing cloud in the center of the explosion was even distorted by the firelight. This is Lu Yun dead. All the Marines present, whether they were ordinary soldiers or everyone at the top of Marine including Kong, were looking at the blurred sea of fire, and everyone's face flashed with a dignified expression. He murmured a question that he wanted to be sure of but was not confident enough. Is the cloud dead? Saying that Lu Yun is dead, it is as it should be. This time, it was the ability of Buster Call. The going phone bug issued the strongest Marine call order, which directly caused the Marines of the former world to assemble in a short period of time. Unprecedented powerful combat power. This is the most successful cooperation between their Marines. Their Marines have assembled 100,000 troops, in order to kill Lu Yun in one fell swoop. But let's just say he didn't die. there was such an uneasy premonition in everyone's mind at Marine. That person, but Lu Yun, his strength and deeds that he has done repeatedly descended on all Marines like nightmare. These unforgettable past events and memories have left an invincible mark on the hearts of all Marines. Before that, Marine had never had a better time with Lu Yun, and he had always been worried because of Lu Yun. On the one hand, he was deeply afraid that Lu Yun would come to find Marine to make trouble, and on the other hand, he had to fight against Lu Yun for various reasons, and he had to stop and intercept Lu Yun. Isn't that the old birthday star who hanged himself and was looking for death? But all these will pass, and from now on, there will be no more clouds in the world. Yes, after seeing that the target airspace was empty, and the breath of Lu Yun was not detected. Sengoku can't wait to get up and shout to the world that Lu Yun, once a powerful and notorious criminal who was evil, has been subjugated under Marine's unwavering justice and unity. Lu Yun is dead, Lu Yun is really dead. The era of clouds is over. Countless Marines were assembled all at once. They got together to complete an unprecedented challenge, and they did a big thing, they killed a god. The world has never lacked strong men, but they have been disappearing into history, because in the face of the power of unity, nothing is invincible. No matter how strong an individual is, if this person wants to be the enemy of the whole world, he will eventually be abandoned by the world. Marine, world government, Tenryubito, still the power that dominates the world. The rule of the Marine and the world government conforms to the will of God, and the clouds that defy the will of God are finally taken away by the heavens. Tenryubito, the defender of the crowd, and those diehards of the world government, began to read the victory speeches, and put themselves fully into the role of rulers. Marines who don't eat Tenryubito and the world government are also chanting victory. This victory in the siege of Luyun was not easy to come by, and no one would take down the stage at such a moment. Although Lu Yun's death and the discovery of his body were not completely confirmed, most of the Marines cheered loudly, and all of a sudden there was a lot of clamor. Every Marine believes that no one in the world can survive such a siege, even if it is a dozen Golden Lion, Red Earl, Whitebeard, Roger, it is impossible, they are all no match in the face of this kind of power. Good job Sengoku Admiral, we finally killed Lu Yun. Akainu waved the fiery red fist in his hand, looking at Sengoku who was stunned, his fist clenched tightly, he knew it was not easy. Chapter 371 Dead or Not Dead. HMPH, doesn't this Lu Yun claim that he won't die even if he stands in place and let us attack? He must have thought that there would not be today when he was arrogant. After all, he still died, right? Yeah, Lu Yun is simply an idiot. But he wasted all his strength, and he has no brains when he has force. It's really violent. You said that we will find out the remains of this idiot, Lu Yun, and put it in the square of Marine headquarters. This Lu Yun is the most vicious criminal in this era, far surpassing One Piece King of Pirates Roger. I think this will greatly enhance the prestige of our Marine and shock those pirates and criminals. Quote. Although this method is unjust, it is a good method. I heard that Lu Yun made a son and subordinate of Big Mom as a specimen and placed it on Fishman Island. Now he is also made into a specimen. It's karma. Onagumo, Akainu, Kazaru, Kuzan and other Marine's main vice admiral surrounded Admiral Sengoku who was still in a daze, and in a few words decided a special funeral for Lu Yun. Tisk tisk, the taste of being set on fire is really unpleasant. After all, the smell of gunpowder is too strong. Your attack is like setting off firecrackers. The momentum is strong, but the power is not enough. Sengoku's ears leisurely. Who is talking? Sengoku, who was in a sluggish state, suddenly opened his eyes when he heard the sound of a cloud, and his pupils shrank to the point of a needle. And Sengoku himself was like a sudden awakening from a nightmare, breaking out of a daze, and his loss of soul directly scared the Marine Vice Admiral around him beside him. What's wrong with Sengoku Admiral? Those Marine Vice Admiral who stayed around Sengoku didn't understand why Admiral Sengoku was first in a daze and then startled. It be that the joy of victory was too strong and suddenly caused Sengoku Admiral to be extremely happy and sad, and he became mad. No matter how the surrounding Marine Vice Admiral shouted for Sengoku, Sengoku didn't respond, or he didn't pay attention at all. Sengoku held his head in his hands, focused, opened his ears, trying to figure out which direction the voice just came from. Was it just his hallucinations or was it really Lu Yun's voice? "You're looking for me, Sengoku. Do you think I'm dead?" Lu Yun's voice came into Sengoku's ears again, and Sengoku was right that it was Lu Yun's voice. It wasn't his hallucinations, and his inner unease was not without reason. It turns out that this Sengoku breakthrough has not only improved its fruit ability, but also has undergone qualitative changes in observation haki, and has a certain ability to warn of hazards. Sengoku has felt since the breakthrough is that he has been warned that he is in danger and that disaster is lurking around him, but these Sengoku do not know that he has just broken through and is facing a big battle. He has not had time to sort out this breakthrough. Reward. But it doesn't matter, because Sengoku then seems to think of something terrible, and Sengoku's face is stunned, as unbelievable as he has encountered prehistoric dinosaurs. No, it's impossible. How could Lu Yun still be alive? Sengoku's mind, all of them were telling Sengoku a fact that he didn't want to believe in death, that Lu Yun didn't die, which made Sengoku fall into an ice cave. Sengoku's low and roaring appearance was reported to Marshal Kong. After all, Sengoku was no longer a normal gaff. It was like being possessed by a ghost. Those vice admirals around Sengoku did not dare to neglect. Kong along with Garp, Zephyr, Suru Vice Admiral and others came to see the wrong Sengoku. "What's wrong? Are you overwhelmed by the joy of victory? You look so lost. This time our Marine has won, and the evil thief has been rectified on the spot by us. Hurry up and recover it for me." Kong patted Sengoku on the shoulder and brought Sengoku to the chair for Sengoku to sit down, trying to soothe Sengoku. In Kong's view, Sengoku's nerves were too tense before an even broke through, and then the great joy of victory suddenly broke Sengoku's nerves. Or maybe it was because Sengoku's confidant suffered from Lu Yun's death and pulled the big stone that had been pressing on Sengoku's heart, which caused Sengoku to be so empty. As long as he gave Sengoku a time to relax, it would naturally be fine. "Sengoku, you can quickly recover for me. You are the biggest contributor to the killing of Lu Yun this time, and you will be the protagonist of the celebration feast after that." Kong stuffed Sengoku with a glass of whiskey, hoping that Sengoku could relax his mind, and then said, "This time Marine's action has a remarkable effect. This strongest assembly order was proposed and planned by you. You are not only the planner of this action. The tactics of besieging Lu Yun were also arranged by you, and you also achieved a breakthrough in strength that was comparable to that Lu Yun." Quote. Said this, Kong paused for a while, swiped at Garp, Zephyr, Akainu and others who came with him, and pouted. "It can be said that without your efforts, Sengoku, we Marine would not be able to kill Lu Yun, and we failed to defend the justice and glory of our Marine. These are all your credits. Unlike some people, if you have no brains, you will still be cannonballs." Kong was teasing anyone and everyone could hear it. Garp touched his head embarrassedly and pretended to be stupid, and everyone around laughed, trying to ease the atmosphere and help Sengoku recover. "Marshal Kong, what if, I said if, Lu Yun didn't die?" Sengoku raised his head and said tremblingly, his eyes bloodshot. Sengoku was still shaking as he spoke, because a soft voice entered his ears as Sengoku spoke. "Do you really think I'm not dead, Sengoku?" The voice was Lu Yun's voice, small but clear, but it seemed that only Sengoku could hear it. "Okay, Sengoku, wake up, you are hallucinating because of the pressure of 4.7. We have just found Lu Yun's body in the sea under the sky. Although his hands and feet are completely broken, his face is beyond recognition, and his body is pierced with hundreds of holes. But the remains of the clothes and the scars on his body must be Lu Yun. Lu Yun is dead, and you will receive the reward from the Gorosei, 5 elders." Kong glanced at this subordinate who made him feel relieved, but he didn't know how to lose this Sengoku. How could he sway the interest of the big guy at this time? Lu Yun's death is already a solid evidence. Could it be that Sengoku was overtaken by a ghost? However, on a marine warship near Sengoku's direct vehicle, a person wearing Marine Lieutenant Commander clothes and a mask was lying on a reclining chair and looking in the direction of Sengoku and others. There were still ripples in this person's eyes, and it was strange that all the Marines passing by turned a blind eye to it. Chapter 372 Special Revenge. If Sengoku, Kong and others were here, they would definitely see that these eyes were unique to the Chin-Luo and Lu-Yun families they knew. And this Marine dressed in a mask is Lu-Yun, who Marine thought was dead. Sato Lieutenant Commander, this is the white wine you want. A Marine soldier respectfully walked over to Lu-Yun and handed over a goblet filled with pale yellow wine. Thank you, soldier. Marine Lieutenant Commander dressed in Lu-Yun took the wine glass and scrutinized it slowly. It will be very interesting next time. I'm looking forward to it. Chin-Luo whispered softly, but his voice was not deliberately lowered, but the Marines around him didn't seem to hear it. Go back in time to an hour ago. It turned out that when Marine finally launched the shelling, Chin-Luo was already tired of Marine's unchanging way of attacking, in order to prevent himself from smelling like gunpowder. At the moment when the cannonball approached, the Shinwei directly passed through the kaleidoscope and left the area. 17. In order to worry that the Deadpool beside Gorosei, 5 elders is also on this battlefield, Chin-Luo was very careful when using Shinwei, and did not release any spatial fluctuations, and the timing was also at the critical point of the explosion of the ammunition. The laboon in the sky also took advantage of the time when all the Marine's artillery fire was concentrated on the flowing cloud, and with the help of the floating cloud's repulsion and gravitational ability, it quickly descended and dived into the sea. Marine thought that Lu-Yun had been dealt with and turned around to find Laboon. Laboon had already swam into the deep sea. Laboon in the deep sea, it is only a ghost that can be caught with the current Marine's technical level. Even Laboon didn't go far at all, just waiting for Chin-Luo's return under the deep sea near the Marine fleet. After settling in Laboon, Chin-Luo patted Momosegi's pink face with a smirk. You guys follow the Marine fleet, and I'm going to the Marine to do something fun. Chin-Luo has always been a person who has revenge, but this time Marine has assembled to trouble him. Seeing Chin-Luo's evil face, Momosegi wondered if Chin-Luo had thought of a more interesting and terrifying way of revenge. Therefore, Momosegi was not worried about Chin-Luo at all, but prayed that Marine would not suffer. After all, her sister Suru Vice Admiral was among them. As for Lu-Yun's broken body, this is even simpler. Chin-Luo directly caught a man with a similar stature among the many Marines. The corpse was riddled with holes, disfigured and amputated, and attached with various explosions and scars, which could almost be faked. I don't know. Chin-Luo also placed an illusion technique on the corpse with a kaleidoscope. Slight interference and superb illusions caused the recipient to not even notice the slightest strangeness. Even Kong, Garp, Akainu and others were convinced of this floating cloud corpse. Chin-Luo naturally replaced the hapless Marine, Sato Lieutenant Commander, and appeared on his Marine warship. Once on the warship, Chin-Luo's kaleidoscope Sharingan's illusion ability was fully activated. Marine of the entire warship and the Marine Vice Admiral who had just returned were controlled by Chin-Luo's illusion. Chin-Luo put on Marine Lieutenant Commander's clothes again, and a special phenomenon appeared. Marines on other warships were not controlled by the illusion. They did not notice that a Marine officer on other warships was replaced by Chin-Luo. Even though Chin-Luo wears a mask on his face, there are more people wearing masks this year. Especially after Lu-Yun became famous in the world, there has been a trend of wearing masks. Even there are not a few generals wearing masks in Marine. Marines on other warships can't see the appearance of the masks at all. How can they think that the masked person is Lu-Yun, who they thought was dead? Marines on Chin-Luo's warship were all controlled by Chin-Luo's illusion, in which they regarded Chin-Luo as Sato Lieutenant Commander. In order to save trouble, Chin-Luo also gave the illusion recipient a hint of obeying the Sato Lieutenant Commander. Marines on other warships. This Marine who was drinking on the recliner was very respected by the soldiers on board, and he was not an outsider. Marine fleet so swaggeringly, and next to the warships of Sengoku and Kong and others, maybe this is the so-called black handle under the lamp. Makeup. Easy. Chin Luo doesn't care about this at all, okay. After doing all the preliminary preparations, Chin Luo's plan began. This time, he wanted to repay these Marines who worked so hard in a way that was out of vulgar taste. Since Marine had no memory of his strength, he would use a unique way to make Marine remember it firmly. In the form of intimidation, he will plunge the entire fleet of Marines into a hell called fear, on the way Marines return to headquarters in the past few days. Chin Luo, who has a writing wheel in his hand, is very confident to do this. According to his plan, Chin Luo first did two things. First, Chin Luo asked the Marine soldiers on the warship for a glass of white wine. Now Chin Luo is a glorious Marine lieutenant commander, how can he not taste the wine that Marine has won after successfully eliminating Lu Yun? Well, Chin Luo was just thirsty and wanted to find something to drink. Then Chin Luo began to look for his 643rd target. Sengoku, whose eyes were in a daze, happened to fall into Chin Luo's eyes. Don't you think it's amazing? Sengoku was the hardest one in the attack on Lu Yun before, but now he has become Chin Luo's first target. Chin Luo almost laughed out loud and secretly made up his mind to design a big play for Sengoku. Maybe the first time Sengoku heard Chin Luo's voice was an auditory hallucination. But what Sengoku heard after that was all Chin Luo did, and all the words Chin Luo carefully designed for Sengoku. Chin Luo, through the ability of the Overlord of the Sea to melt all things with water, transforms into a water illusion, either hiding in the sea beside Sengoku or in the whiskey glass that Kong handed to Sengoku. Since this is using a little water phantom to take you, and not teleported by himself, the nearby Marines didn't notice the difference, and Chin Luo used the water phantom to hint what Chin Luo wanted to say into Sengoku's heart. So what Sengoku heard was Lu Yun's voice, but no one around could hear it. Although Sengoku was surrounded by Kong, Garp and others, Chin Luo watched everything there because of that glass of whiskey. When Sengoku frantically said that Lu Yun was not dead, Chin Luo cooperated and said, "Do you really think I am not dead, Sengoku?" Chapter 373 Each with his own mind. But this is just the beginning. Chin Luo is not in a hurry to push Sengoku too hard. Lu Yun's body. Are you really sure it's Lu Yun's body? Hearing that Marshal Kong found Lu Yun's body, Sengoku's face finally turned bloody, and he asked suspiciously. That's natural, we've all confirmed it one by one. Marshal Kong hammered Sengoku on the shoulder, motioning him to relax. Yes. It must be Lu Yun. Onagumo, Bastille, Akainu and others confirmed. Sengoku nodded. After so many senior Marine officials confirmed it, he felt better. Although his inner unease had not dissipated, at least the previous hallucinations did not reappear. Sengoku, don't act like an old man. Garp put his hand on Sengoku's shoulder, and didn't know when he took the remaining whiskey bottle directly into his hand, and touched the glass in Sengoku's hand. Guguk, take a sip. Garp, you bastard, that's my whiskey. Marshal Kong saw that Garp drank the bottle of whiskey he just opened, which was a good thing he had hidden for many years. Had never drank this bottle of wine before, but he poured out a glass for Sengoku after he was happy today, but he didn't want to be suffocated by Garp chewing peony with mixed things. Kong suddenly felt annoyed, and punched Garp in the face to say hello. No joke, the punch was real, and Garp was about to get a panda eye. Garp averted his eyes when he was caught off guard, but his nose suffered, and the bottle he was drinking was thrown away, and Kong grabbed it, but only a third of it was left. Garp. Kong was so angry that he couldn't spare Garp, and he was about to punch again. Garp, on the other hand, is not afraid of being scalded by boiling water, standing next to Sengoku, covering his nose and looking around, a total scoundrel. Seeing this, Sengoku relaxed a little and drank the whiskey from the glass in one gulp. Well, you don't need to worry about me, I feel better. And the wine is good, thank you Marshal Kong. Sengoku, a big man, shook the glass playfully, the picture was too beautiful to describe. In this case, everyone prepare. In the evening, the fleet will have a small celebration party first, and there will be a formal celebration party when we return to the headquarters. To celebrate our official punishment of the evil thief Lu Yun, the Gorosei 5 elders will also attend. Marshal Kong saw Sengoku's recovery. He announced the celebration banquet, and everyone was very relaxed. When Kong's words mentioned that Lu Yun was successfully attacked, all the marine cadres couldn't help but sighed heavily. Can be seen that Lu Yun exerts great pressure and influence on Marine's many generals. But at the last mention of Gorosei 5 elders, all Marines raised their spirits. Among them, there are several vice admiral who are expected to be promoted to admiral, such as Kuzan, Akainu, Kazaru, etc. Maybe they received some news in advance. It seems that after this successful crusade against Lu Yun, Marine may usher in a series of changes, but Marine has always had such a tradition. Every time a big event in Marine's favor occurs, Marine will have a lot of personnel changes. Afterwards, the reward for meritorious deeds will be the key to the battle of many generals, and the recognition of Gorosei 5 elders will directly determine the subsequent promotion. A moment ago, they were back-to-back comrades in the Lu Yun crusade, but now the generals have become wary and suspicious of each other. The high-ranking Marine generals, only 4 did not care. One was Marshal Kong, who said that at this time, one was Suru Vice Admiral who had his own plans, the other was Garp, who had already been ordered not to be promoted by Gorosei 5 elders, and the last one was Sengoku who was still in a state of unease. Anyway, you guys should prepare first. After all, it will be a celebration feast. Sengoku, you are the protagonist of this celebration feast, so keep your spirits up. Marshal Kong left without looking back. Abacus also left with all his thoughts, leaving only Garp, Sengoku and Suru Vice Admiral to stay where they were. I have something to ask you, Suru. Sengoku said, some doubts in his heart when he saw that everyone had left, but his inner unease had not disappeared. Say, Suru Vice Admiral said tersely. Have the remnants of Lu Yun caught it? Sengoku thought of the whale in the sky, Laboon. It's weird, but it disappeared for a while. When everyone's attention was focused on the clouds, the whale disappeared. I guess it ran away. Garp took out a packet of senbei from somewhere and gnawed it, and interjected. Road. Suru Vice Admiral stared at Garp. She had nothing to do with Garp, the devil of the world. It did run away, without anyone noticing. Suru Vice Admiral stepped up on the word, everyone. Apparently Suru Vice Admiral wanted to say it was very strange, that such a big whale didn't even pay attention to a marine. It might not be that simple. Sure enough, the resourceful General Sengoku and Suru Vice Admiral are both wise beings, and they both feel something unusual. Did you tell Marshal Kong about this? Sengoku frowned in thought. Suru Vice Admiral shook his head and said no. As for why he didn't say it, it was not good to sway Kong's interest at such a time, or he was not sure. Suru Vice Admiral didn't mention it. After seeing this, Sengoku fell silent, and after a long time, he spoke solemnly as if he had made a decision. Do you think Lu Yun is really dead? That corpse is really Lu Yun's. The uneasiness in my heart has not dissipated, and it has intensified. There are only 2 of Sengoku's most familiar friends here, so he expressed his doubts. There were too many generals before, and Marshal Kong looked like he was afraid that he would affect the atmosphere of the celebration, so he held back. Sengoku hoped that his 2 best comrades could help him, but this time he was going to be disappointed. Garp always looked like I'm stupid. Don't ask me. Suru Vice Admiral was thinking about something, but said do not send. Well, since the 2 best friends with his Sengoku didn't agree, it seems that he was thinking too much. On the warship not far away, Sato Lieutenant Commander Chin Luo watched all of this in his eyes. Very good. Chin Luo couldn't help but let out a voice, with a look of joy that his trick was about to succeed. Did Sato Lieutenant Commander say that the wine is good? The marine soldier who was holding the white wine bottle for Chin Luo asked aloud. That's natural, the wine of victory, I just drink it in advance. Luo didn't expect that Marine thought that Lu Yun was dead, and the generals began to have their own plans. This was really good for him. This made his plan easier to implement. Chapter 374 Target Akainu. That's natural, no matter how good white wine is, it can't compare to the joy of victory. The Marine soldier who was standing beside Luo and fell into Luo's illusion was not like a sailor, but more like a waiter. This Marine soldier would never have thought that he was stalking his horse, and the Lieutenant Commander Sato, who was trying to please him, no longer existed. However, Luo would not let the Marine on this Marine warship find out about this. Luo shook the pale yellow wine in the goblet, drank it in one gulp, got up and handed the wine glass to the attentive Marine soldier standing beside him. "Help me take it to the kitchen, I'll go back to my room first," Luo said unhurriedly. "Okay, Sato, Lieutenant Commander." The Marine soldier saluted and left with a wine bottle goblet. Luo didn't know where the Sato Lieutenant Commander room was, but there was no need to know. Luo didn't really want to go back to the room, but wanted to take advantage of this time when many Marines were scheming with each other to defeat them one by one. "Hey, there's not much time left for the evening celebration party. If you want to do enough foreplay, you must be busy." Luo glanced at his watch and complained, but the smirk on his face was not at all happy. "It doesn't look like it." Luo 783 feet's first target is Akainu, who has a hot personality. Compared with other people, Akainu is easier to succeed and more exciting. Luo unknowingly walked to the stern of the warship and leaned against the railing of the second-floor cabin of the warship. A thought was sent out, and Luo's eyes appeared the water element distribution map attached to the ability of the Overlord of the Sea. This water element map shows the locations of all water elements in the One Piece King of Pirates world and can be viewed on the map. Luo pulled the map to the current location of the Marine fleet, and quickly found out the locations of many Marine cadres and the distribution of the entire Marine fleet through some queries. Outsiders can't see this water element distribution map, so others can't see anything different about Sato Lieutenant Commander, they just think they are looking at the sea, which Marine doesn't do this kind of thing a few times a day, it's normal. When outsiders thought he was in a daze, Luo determined the locations of the targets one by one. "It's not good to play and disappear in public," Luo whispered, so he checked Sato Lieutenant Commander's room by the way. Sato Lieutenant Commander, who came to his room, locked the door and poured a glass of water on the counter next to the bed. In this way, even if someone comes to Sato Lieutenant Commander, Luo can instantly go back to bed and pretend to be sleeping. Everything was ready. Luo disappeared in the room with hee laughter. Akainu walked on the warship of his teacher Zephyr with a heavy heart. Died, the mountain that had been pressing on Akainu's head shattered, leaving only that damn Luo. But what worries him the most now is the Marine celebration with the Gorosei, 5 elders in a few days. Akainu got the news that this time the crusade against Lu Yun was successful. After returning, Marine's Admiral and Marshal will change in as little as a year or 3 or 5 years. This time Sengoku deserves the most credit. It is very likely that he will be appointed as the next Marine Marshal. Akainu has no idea for the position of Marshal, but the position of Admiral is different. Akainu is bound to get the Admiral position, but this time his credit is the same as Kuzan, Kizaru and some other Vice Admiral, except for the strength, and there is nothing special to open the gap. Akainu wasn't quite sure about his competition for the position of Admiral, so he came to teacher Zephyr to find out. Zephyr worked as a Marine Admiral, and is now the head coach of the recruit training camp at Marine headquarters. In Marine, there are many peach and plums all over the world, and he is well connected and deeply trusted by Marshal Kong and Gorosei, 5 elders. The presence. Akainu wants to gain Zephyr's support, but among Zephyr's students, Kuzan, Akainu and Kizaru all value Zephyr, but Kuzan is the most optimistic. I don't know how Zephyr will choose this time. I heard that after I go back this time, there will be a series of changes on the top. True or false? I've heard it all. Can there be fakes? It turned out that on Akainu's way to Zephyr's office in the warship, Akainu saw some marine soldiers hiding in the corner chatting. At Akainu's level, observation hockey and his ear power are far superior to ordinary people. Even if they are separated by a distance, and the voice is very small, he can hear it clearly. Usually, when Akainu encounters such a situation, he naturally chooses to scold these soldiers and convict him of stealing, cheating, and talking to his boss. However, the marine soldiers are talking about the admiral candidate that Akainu is most concerned about. Akainu did not scold, but stopped and listened carefully. This is Zephyr's warship. Maybe Marine can hear some news that others don't know on this warship. Akainu said this to herself in her heart, but she couldn't take a step. Who will change? Don't give a shit. Hey, I feel like drinking a little today. Okay, let's get you. We'll invite you tonight. The surrounding marine soldiers roared to protest this shameless robbery. I said, I just heard Marshal Kong and Zephyr instructor say that the position of Admiral and Marshal will change when I was on duty. No way. Marine soldiers were in an uproar, obviously shocked. Both the Marshal and Admiral have changed. This is a major matter for Marine. Sure enough, Akainu screamed inwardly, the news he received was not groundless. Isn't it? Marshal Kong and Zephyr instructor are both discussing the candidates for the new Admiral and Marshal. Would you like to know the expected candidates for the two adults? Marine, who has been breaking the news, sold out. Yes, let's add French black pepper steak, please don't sell it. The grumpy marine soldier directly agreed to a feast. Hee, I see. You must be able to guess that the Marshal candidate is Sengoku Admiral. As for the Admiral quota, Zephyr instructor recommended a person. Guess who it is? Who? Not only the surrounding marine soldiers were curious, but Akainu in the corner was also nervous and almost shouted, but his fists were already clenched, and his fists were partially magma. It's Kuzan Vice Admiral, Z. The exploding marine soldier didn't finish his sentence. Suddenly there was a loud bang. Not far from them, Akainu was angry. His right hand turned into magma and hit the wall of the warship, piercing the wall directly, and a marine in the room where a hole was pierced. The clerk was blinded and trembling looking at the fist with lava that was less than 10 centimeters in front of him, and the hot temperature made him sweat. Kuzan. Akainu said these 4 words with a grim expression on his face, then turned and left. Chapter 375 Seeds of Jealousy. Hearing the loud noise, the group of marine soldiers were also shocked and turned their heads one after another, only to see the scene of Akainu Vice Admiral angrily punching through the wall of the warship. Akainu Vice Admiral, who is usually very strict and what they were talking about just now, must have been heard by Akainu Vice Admiral. Among them, especially the source, the active transmitter of the gossip runs the fastest. However, with such a big movement, Marines on other warships looked over, so how could Zephyr not respond? What's the matter? Panic. Zephyr came out of his office with his clothes on and grabbed a slower Marine. No, nothing. Lord Zephyr. Marine, who was caught, was heartbroken. Seeing that he was caught by Zephyr and couldn't run away, he simply dragged his best friend who was running in front of him to a halt. Then why are you running around on the warship looking like you're in a panic? Zephyr is not someone to fool. That's because the Marine who was caught by Zephyr was trembling with panic. Although Zephyr didn't show any momentum at all, the majesty he usually raised at the top of the Marine made this Marine tremble and speak incoherently. I can't even move my head. Zephyr wondered if he was so scary, and he didn't say that he was going to punish him. This Marine soldier couldn't even say a word. Zephyr rolled his eyes and looked at the innocent Marine soldier who was stopped by his companions. If possible, this Marine soldier who was stopped by his best friend must break up with him. Seeing the look in Zephyr's eyes, he stammered and said, "Just now. Akainu, Vice Admiral saw us gathered to chat and sent a message. Angry." These Marine soldiers didn't dare to say what they were talking about the high-level changes. They could only reluctantly give a reason. Zephyr didn't fully believe it, but at least they knew that it was Akainu who just made the move. Not embarrassing these Marine soldiers, Zephyr reprimanded them to stop being so panicky and let the two go away, and Akainu didn't care about it. But what no one knows is that the Marine soldier who told gossip before ran to a corner of the warship where no one was on board. When he was gasping for breath, a pattern of circles suddenly appeared in his eyes, just like Rinnegan, and soon Rinnegan disappeared again. Hey, why did I get here? By the way, what the hell did I say, damn it? The Marine soldier was stunned for a moment, and slapped himself in vain. It seems that it is not particularly easy to use Kaleidoscope and Rinnegan to control the top of Marine, and there is a high possibility of making noise. However, using Rinnegan's illusion to control the Marine soldiers a little and give them psychological hints, it is completely fine to smash their mouths. These controlled people will still be very conscious, and they will not know that they are being controlled, only when they are impulsive. Keep your mouth shut. So things like this happened frequently in Marine. What is my second aunt's cousin's son-in-law's neighbor, etc. Tell me big news, Marine executives are going to change, so-and-so is going to become an admiral, or whoever Zephyr instructor and Marshal Kong recommended to be an admiral, founder is what I have. A family of relatives. Of course, the methods are not the same. Some are directly controlled by Chin Luo to report gossip to the vice admiral, while others are used by the Marine soldiers to overhear the gossip. In the end, Chin Luo didn't even need to take action, and all kinds of rumors spread among the Marine soldiers who were idle and had nothing to do, and became a secret that no one knew. Chin Luo doesn't know about others, but the more powerful and potential vice admiral like Bastille and Onagumo heard that Kuzan, Akainu, and Kizaru would become admiral, and as for them, they are completely each. These vice admiral knew the gap between themselves and Kuzan, Akainu, and Kizaru. When it was time to get promoted and discuss merit, there were very few people who could really face up to these gaps. From Chin Luo's point of view, the vice admirals who heard the news all had deep expressions on their faces. And the future three Admiral Kuzan, Akainu, Kizaru, in addition to Akainu, Kuzan and Kizaru heard Kong recommending Akainu. After listening to this, Kuzan looked calm and continued to sleep, unable to see what was in his heart, while Kizaru bit the cigar he was smoking, and even rewarded the soldier who was gossiping with a beam of light, although it was only a ray of light. There was a hole in the Marine soldier's clothes, but it was obvious that he was not at peace. Sure enough, I still care. Chin Luo whispered softly. When he was about to leave Kuzan's warship, Chin Luo noticed that the eye patch that Kuzan was wearing was covered with white frost at some point. Regardless, the seeds of jealousy have been planted. Bang bang bang. There was a knock on the door. Come in. After finishing everything, Chin Luo changed back to Sato Lieutenant Commander and returned to his room. You're looking for me, Sato Lieutenant Commander. Here's the white wine you want. The soldier who came in was the one who had courted Chin Luo before. After speaking, the soldier poured Chin Luo a glass of wine. 0. I am tired of reading books, so I can only quench my thirst with wine. Chin Luo said casually. A pair of kaleidoscope writing wheels flashed in his eyes, and he completed the psychological suggestion to the soldier who came to deliver the wine. Let the man. The soldier served as a witness that he had been reading in the room. The soldier was silent for a moment and suddenly said, Sato Lieutenant Commander, I heard people say that the Marine executives are about to change. It seems that Kuzan, Akainu, Kizaru, Garp and Chaton Tokikake, Vice Admiral will become Admiral. Chin Luo almost spit out the wine. He didn't expect that the rumor would eventually spread to him, the originator. It was still such an outrageous version, and rumors like 5 Admiral would still be believed. Do you think this news is credible? Chin Luo just controlled the Marine's 5 senses and cognition on this Marine warship, and manipulated the memory, but he did not limit the IQ of these people. If you think about it, such a rumor has no credibility at all. Of course, I'm so good at listening to this kind of nonsense. Isn't this a joke for Sato Lieutenant Commander to listen to? Chin Luo was both relieved and helpless. He was relieved that the Marine he controlled was not an idiot after all. There are no side effects, but unfortunately, the rumors that I have spread are seriously deformed, and I am afraid that it will not have such a good effect. 5 Marine Admirals don't have the name of Sato Lieutenant Commander. This is simply funny. No one can miss Sato Lieutenant Commander. The soldier gave Chinluo a slap on the face with a serious look. PFF'd. Unable to hold back this time, Chinluo directly spit out the wine in his mouth and choked. Chapter 376 Celebration Feast begins. What's wrong with you, Sato Lieutenant Commander? The soldier controlled by Chinluo asked hurriedly. It's okay, it doesn't matter. Chinluo raised his right hand to stop the Marine soldiers from approaching. Chinluo never thought that the Marine soldiers who were under control would say such a thing. Even Chinluo, who was used to listening to flattery, was caught off guard by this refreshing and refined flattery. You go out first, it's the celebration feast soon, I'll change my clothes first. Chinluo waved the Marine soldiers out. Soon it was getting dark, and amid a commotion, Marine SC celebrations were about to begin. When the preparations for the celebration banquet were completed, it was already completely dark. As the flagship of the fleet formed by the Marine's strongest assembly order, the most important celebration banquet venue and commendation center are of course located on the current Marine Marshal Kong's warship. The Marshal's warship, Marine No. 1 inch, is not only the best technically, but its area is far larger than that of ordinary warships, but no matter how big it is impossible to accommodate all the Marines. Therefore, ordinary Marine soldiers stay on their warships to prepare a celebration banquet in the galley of the warship. Only officers with a rank above ensign or a special preparation and some Marine generals with potential or background who have received special invitations can go to the Marshal's office. The warship, Marine No. 1 inch, participated in the most important celebration banquet. Sato Lieutenant Commander, played by Chinluo, naturally met the requirements of the military rank and was able to participate in the celebration banquet on Marine No. 1 inch. Sato Lieutenant Commander, as the only person qualified to participate in Chinluo's warship, came to Marine No. 1 inch when the crowd gathered the most. Of course, with so many Marine generals, Chinluo did not continue to bring Lu Yun. Instead, he used illusion to set himself a face similar to Sato Lieutenant Commander. Chinluo took a glass of wine and stood beside a group of people who confirmed that they did not know each other, pretending to be waiting for acquaintances. At this time, the corners appear conspicuous. Chinluo naturally wouldn't do that. However, Chinluo still chose a position close to the deck of the ship. The noisy sounds from other warships outside and the sound of the waves were enough to cover up the sounds he might make later. At this time, the entire 3-story banquet hall was basically packed by Marine generals, and they were almost there. All officers and men. With the strong voice of the Master of Ceremonies, the lights of the banquet went out, leaving a few dim ones on the table. 2 spotlights lit up and illuminated the vacated part of the hall on the first floor of the banquet hall, which will serve as the seats and commendation stand for the main generals of the Marine high-level celebration. Sato Lieutenant Commander, played by Chinluo, are scattered in the banquet plaza, on the first to third floors of the banquet hall, and naturally there are no seats. Marshal Admiral, Marine Vice Admiral, and Marshal Kong are invited. With the voice of the Master of Ceremonies, the Vice Admiral, starting with Vice Admiral, appeared one by one according to their strength, merit and status, then Admiral, and Marshal Kong as the finale appears at the end. Among them, Chinluo has a lot of acquaintances. I think Kizaru, Akainu, Kuzan, Sengoku, Garp, etc. are relatively late. Just like walking the red carpet in the real world, it is actually quite boring, but it is possible to determine the number of supporters of these generals according to the size of the voice of admission. Among the Vice Admirals, Garp and Suru Vice Admiral are the most, followed by the 3 future admirals of Kizaru, Akainu and Kuzan. Others may not notice it, but Chinluo, a caring person, can clearly see that when the call for Kizaru, Akainu, and Kuzan to enter the arena sounds, the expressions of the 3 of them are very exciting, changing almost every second. Akainu was the last of the 3 to enter, and the voice was the loudest. Both Kuzan and Kizaru looked at Akainu, who was seated with constipation. Akainu was not in a good temper either. The anger from before was not gone, but he just turned back and an unspeakable smoke and anger permeated the celebration banquet. It's interesting, it's even more interesting if it's a fight. Qinluo's voice was small, barely audible in the boiling atmosphere. Next, Marine Marshal Kong's speech was rather boring. Nothing more than the crusade against the evil thieves of the clouds, the strength of unity, Marine's justice and everyone's credit, etc. Bara bara. The Marines may be excited, but Qinluo is depressed and bored. How should I put it? It's like holding a memorial service for King Yama. I don't want to live anymore. If it wasn't for the more interesting plans in the future, Qinluo would want to directly open the kaleidoscope and take these marine generals to a pot. Sengoku's turn to speak. For this celebration banquet, Sengoku also changed into a brand new marine military uniform. The fabrics as white as snow and the trimmed beard were obviously well dressed. At least he didn't want Garp to break the jar. It's also a loss for Qinluo to spend an afternoon not tossing Sengoku, except that Sengoku is still restless, at least his spirit is much better. It's enough to let you rest for an afternoon, Sengoku. Qinluoxi Isho, Yin Hong's wine kept shaking in the wine glass in his hand. Sengoku. Qinluo was terrifying but also particular about a step-by-step process. Qinluo repeated his old tricks, and gave a psychological suggestion to Sengoku alone, and only Sengoku heard so many Marines in the audience. At this point, Kong's speech was in the final stages, and Sengoku was in his place preparing his speech, and it was his turn. Impassioned voice of Kong resounding through the venue, Sengoku faintly heard Lu Yun's voice again. Hearing hallucinations. Sengoku paid attention, but he didn't hear anything, so he breathed a sigh of relief. Sengoku, am I dead? Sengoku's hand holding the speech was suddenly clenched, and the speech was torn to shreds. What's wrong with Sengoku? Suru Vice Admiral on the side asked aloud when he saw Sengoku's strangeness. It's nothing, really. Sengoku took a second to answer Suru Vice Admiral's question in a haunted manner. Tell me if you have anything. Suru Vice Admiral is still worried. Sengoku's 0.7 is completely out of shape. Okay, what's wrong with me? Sengoku said to Suru Vice Admiral while sweating coldly to reassure him, but when he said that, he suddenly stopped, and the cold sweat kept coming out. Lu Yun will not die, and death is only a beginning. Lu Yun's voice was still Lu Yun's voice, but this time Sengoku could hear it clearly, because this time his voice changed from the fluttering tone before, and became sadly, with the sneer that Lu Yun occasionally makes. Love. After a long time, Sengoku said the last two words in a tone that he didn't believe at all. Sengoku froze in his seat, the sudden words completely unacceptable to him. He confirmed countless times that only he could hear the voice, and Suru Vice Admiral next to him did not respond at all. Chapter 377 Sengoku's Guess. What's wrong with you, Sengoku? Sengoku, I'm watching you. Gradually, the voices of Suru Vice Admiral and Lu Yun mingled in Sengoku's mind, and he couldn't tell who was who. The cold sweat on Sengoku's face was like a waterfall, and the two voices looped endlessly until Sengoku's tipping point. Lu Yun. With a loud roar, Sengoku stood up from his seat, the speech was thrown aside, his hands slammed on the table, and the dining table of ordinary quality was hammered into several pieces. Kong, who was finishing his speech, stopped. With the outburst of emotions, the voice in Sengoku's mind finally disappeared, even all the voices in the banquet hall disappeared, and Sengoku woke up instantly. Not that Qinluo let Sengoku stop harassing him with his voice, but Qinluo cherishes the opportunity to get in trouble. Unfortunately, the banquet hall is so silent that even a pin drop can be heard on the ground. Qinluo made psychological suggestions to Sengoku. He would make some noises. If he was still alone at this moment, he would probably be seen on the spot. But it doesn't matter, all the marine generals present are now looking at Sengoku, and Marshal Kong is even more constipated with his back to the crowd, looking at Sengoku with an expression of wanting to eat people, asking Sengoku to quickly give an explanation. So, now Sengoku, how are you going to step down? Chinluo looked at Sengoku jokingly, looking forward to Sengoku's strain in the future. Sengoku wasn't an idiot either. The situation became clear in an instant, with Garp and Suru Vice Admiral frantically winking and gesturing. Lu Yun, the evil thief, this existence that brought great disaster and evil was finally eliminated by our marine. Sengoku looked at Marshal Kong, and gestured for cooperation with his eyes. Please forgive my gaffe, it's just that I couldn't help my heart pounding when I heard Lu Yun's evil thief being executed. I felt like my soul was about to burn with excitement. It turns out to be the case. Sengoku Admiral, the biggest hero of the Lu Yun crusade, must have a lot of words and emotions from his heart that he wants to vent, so he can't help it, so I won't say more here, quickly give us the microphone the hero. Quote. These old things that have been in the officialdom all year round are clever. Kong's style of painting went down the steps in an instant, and he also created a hot atmosphere and handed the microphone to Sengoku. Sengoku, quote ellipsis. Sengoku, Chinluo calmly shouted boringly, but the psychological suggestion to Sengoku through the shouting started again. Sengoku pretended to be excited and the microphone started to speak, but because of the constant harassment by Chinluo, Sengoku's mental state was always on the verge of collapse. Sengoku shortened the speech in his hand and finished it quickly. At the end, Sengoku added some content that was not in the speech. I think even if Lu Yun didn't die, under the unity of so many of us Marines, he could only shiver. No matter how powerful these rats are, they are only suitable for hiding in the sewers. Everyone, don't you think so? Sengoku's passionate voice resounded in the banquet hall, and as the end of his speech, it brought the atmosphere of many Marine generals present. Long live Marine! Justice shall prevail. Sengoku Admiral must win. Such voices constantly being heard, Sengoku carefully surveyed the many people in the banquet hall. Some people in Sengoku suspected that the ghost was in this hall. It's in vain. Sengoku's simple aggressive approach would naturally not work against Chinluo. Let's make a fuss first. When 12 o'clock arrives, the main drama will start. Chinluo stayed beside a group of people drinking red wine silently, with an elegant demeanor. Others only thought that Chinluo was cold and emotional, fluctuate, have fewer friends, and don't think too much about other areas. Sengoku was on the first floor in the distance, and he couldn't see anything. Sengoku only felt that a speech was more tiring than a fight. Drag Garp and Suru Vice Admiral to the Marshal Kong to ask for instructions and leave first. Marshal Kong didn't show a good face to Sengoku this time. Sengoku almost screwed up this celebration party. Seeing that Sengoku was no longer in good condition, he quickly sent him away with Garp, the problem child. Suru, please take care of these two bastards and keep an eye on me. Marshal Kong said with a stern face. Now it was Zephyr's turn to speak on the stage, and Kong used this gap to give orders to the reliable Suru Vice Admiral. I will, Marshal. Sengoku's behavior is not normal. I suspect someone is up to something. Suru Vice Admiral was ordered to reply, noting that the last part of Sengoku's speech did not exist in the speech. Sengoku said it temporarily. Yes, there must be some purpose. Kong waved his hand to indicate that he knew. He didn't have time to say this now, and the commendation meeting was coming soon. The departure of Sengoku, Garp, and Suru Vice Admiral was very low-key, and although many people saw it, it did not cause much impact. In Sengoku's lounge, Sengoku told the two people he trusted the most about what he heard Lu Yun's voice frequently and only he heard, along with the lingering sense of unease and doubts about Marine personnel all said. The drunk Garp, the lethargic Sengoku, the silent Crane 760 Vice Admiral, fell into an eerie silence in the lounge. What do you think? Chinluo naturally stopped harassing Sengoku after hitting his target. Sengoku, who had calmed down, was the first to break the silence. What did you say? Garp had already drank a lot of alcohol before he left the table, and now he was half drunk, and raised the wine bottle in his hand to Sengoku. "Come on, have a drink." Sengoku directly punched Garp to bring Garp down. He didn't intend to expect Garp to give any advice, just asked him not to make trouble. Luyun should be dead, otherwise, with his temper, those of us are probably already digested by the Sea Kings, or he has extorted us another devil fruit. Suru Vice Admiral is very familiar with Chin Luo's consistent style. But this time she really wanted to be bad. This time Chin Luo got rid of the low-level taste and had higher requirements, at least Chin Luo thought so. Then it seems that someone in Marine is doing something wrong. Sengoku's face was down, his eyes were in the shadows, and anyone could see the dissatisfaction and anger in Sengoku's heart at this time. "I heard rumors flying today about the next Marine Admiral and the list of marshals, and the entire Marine fleet is aware of it." Suru Vice Admiral said something out of line. Hee, it seems that some people are really restless. How could Sengoku not know the meaning of Suru Vice Admiral? Chapter 378 Ranking Battle. Just after the crusade against Luyun, the clowns in Marine couldn't help but jump out, and Sengoku attributed everything he encountered to the riots within Marine. Although Sengoku has his own guesses, they still can't find out how to deal with the next situation and make trouble privately. Who is Sengoku? And the discussion is once again deadlocked. After the three of Sengoku left, Marshal Kong started the commendation ceremony for the Luyun Crusade. Different from the previous harmonious atmosphere, the smell of gunpowder began to permeate the celebration feast. Chin Luo said that he really didn't do anything, and the banquet hall on the third floor was already in a state of tension. Maybe it only needed a little spark, and the entire banquet hall would explode completely. The commendation meeting also starts with the low credit first. Officers like the Sato Lieutenant Commander, who is Chin Luo's incarnation, have a large number of officers, and those with low positions are only mentioned in one sentence, and they will not be asked to be on the first floor of the commendation stand. Prize, those who need to go up are sitting on the first floor this time. Sato Lieutenant Commander is naturally also mentioned, as one of the many commanding warship captains. In this part, the Marine generals were also restrained. At most, the Marine generals who did not deal with each other were indignant when their name appeared in front of their opponents, and the latter sneered. But after starting to commend Rear Admiral, the seeds of jealousy that Chin Luo planted in the afternoon began to germinate slowly. Starting from Rear Admiral, the generals who have been commended will go to the podium to receive the medal from Marshal Kong. The successful crusade against the evil thief Luyun is the most important event for Marine in recent years, and even the execution of One Piece King of Pirates Roger is not comparable to this time. After the baptism of rumors in the afternoon, all the Marine Rear Admiral Vice Admirals took the commendation order of this commendation meeting as the promotion order of everyone. Maybe it's because the anger is not enough. Starting from Vice Admiral, only one person has been awarded honors every time, so everyone's ranking can't be clearer. Each Vice Admiral has a large number of Marine cadres as followers, and the candidates for the next Admiral Marshal each represent a faction. Vice Admiral, Chaton Tokikake Kuzan, Akainu, Kazaru, Garp, and Suru Vice Admiral were left without being commended. However, Suru Vice Admiral and Garp could not be promoted to Admiral for some reason, so the next is the competition between Chaton Tokikake Kuzan, Akainu and Kazaru. If Momoshiki is still in the Marine, it is estimated that there will be one more person. Chin Luo looked at the nervous appearance of the middle-level Marine generals next to him and found it funny, and the sense of substitution was too strong for these people. Do you think so too? It's me, and I also called Momoshiki Vice Admiral. Chin Luo didn't expect the people next to him to talk to him, so he couldn't help but chuckle. He didn't expect to see Momoshiki in Marine now. I'm a passerby fan, and I'm about to talk to Momoshiki when I go back. At this critical juncture, Chin Luo's laughter undoubtedly attracted many unkind eyes. Chin Luo didn't want to be the focus. He lowered his head to express silence. If he hadn't wanted to hide his identity for the good show that followed, Chin Luo would have wanted to poke the eyes of these people. Chaton Tokikake, Vice Admiral. Marshal Kong's words directly sentenced Chaton Tokikake to be promoted to Admiral Hopeless, so Chaton Tokikake supporters and himself were listless, and others were elated. How to say is expected of the three admiral in the future, this result did not surprise Qinluo at all. The supporters of Chaton Tokikake are still relatively few, although some people are dissatisfied, but with so many people around, the dissatisfaction quickly disappeared. However, a slight friction has already appeared, and some disputes have arisen on Qinluo's level. With the prestige and strength of Suru Vice Admiral and Garp Vice Admiral, there is absolutely no problem in the finale of Vice Admiral's commendation, so who is the ranking of Kuzan, Akainu, and Kizaru? The battle for the ranking of the new admiral in the future. Kizaru Vice Admiral. As Marshal Kong's voice fell, Kizaru, who was obviously sitting, sighed directly. Sure enough. I can't fight, I can't fight. Kizaru said to Kuzan and Akainu with a relaxed expression, then got up and walked towards the podium. Kizaru Vice Admiral. Kizaru Vice Admiral. Kizaru's supporters account for about 1/5 of the entire banquet hall. Although these people are unwilling, they can only accept the reality, but it is always possible to shout in solidarity with their supporters. However, other Vice Admiral supporters don't buy it. The previous Vice Admiral awards did not shout when they were awarded. The so-called, suffering from widowhood and unevenness, how can you set a precedent when you arrive at Kizaru? Vice Admirals such as Bastille, Onagumo, Chaton Tokikake, Mole, etc. quit. Along with some Kuzan and Akainu supporters, some rivalries and quarrels have already begun, but they are relatively restrained. What are you calling? What am I calling? Cry again. Try it. Is Kizaru really that calm? I'm afraid not, or he won't sigh. In the later plot, Kizaru will not try to get in touch with the Marine Science Department where Vegapunk is located. After Kizaru was awarded, the shouting in the banquet hall was louder, but changed from Kizaru to Kuzan and Akainu. The seats of Kizaru, Kuzan, and Akainu are still connected together. Now Kizaru has returned to his seat, only Kuzan and Akainu are there. Akainu bit his cigar, squinted at Kuzan, leaned one hand on the table, and a wave of heat passed with the table towards Kuzan. Kuzan looked like he was dozing off. His half-squinted eyes also looked at Akainu out of the corner of his eye. Their eyes met in the air, only to feel an electric spark hit. Kuzan and Akainu, which no one can see, seems to have become a world of ice and fire. Cold ice crystals filled Kuzan's table, and scorching lava rolled under Akainu's table, and no one could do anything about it. But the strange thing is that the ordinary table and white cloth were not affected by the two forces at all, neither frozen nor burned, and even the color of the tablecloth did not change. The average Marine general couldn't even see the intense struggle going on under the table. I didn't expect that Kuzan and Akainu have progressed so quickly recently, and their ability to control devil fruits has reached this level. Is this because I gave them weight training? Qinluo naturally noticed the struggle between Kuzan and Akainu, can't help but lament the potential of these fate-arranged people. But what if the progress is rapid? Can there be a powerful system? Thinking of this, Qinluo showed that contemptuous smile on his face again. It wasn't just Kuzan and Akainu who were fighting. Their supporters each accounted for a quarter of the banquet hall. At this moment, the two groups were almost ready to fight, and the smell of gunpowder was full of gunpowder. Chapter 379 Torn Face. On occasions such as a celebration banquet, it is impossible for the supporters of the two sides to fight, but quarrels, confrontations and even slight frictions and collisions are always inevitable. If deliberately letting go of the fighting between the two factions, Marshal Kong paused for a minute before announcing the structure. Akainu. Although I already had a bad premonition, the announced results still affected Akainu's mentality. Mental imbalance caused Akainu to lose perfect control of his devil fruit ability, and Akainu lost in the battle with Kuzan's silent devil fruit ability. The snow-white tablecloth under Akainu's left hand had turned charred black. In order not to cause more disturbance, Akainu quickly withdrew his devil fruit ability, and the magma disappeared instantly. Seeing this, Kuzan also took back his ice crystals at the same time, and some battles were not suitable for the stage. Kuzan, you won this time, but next time it won't be so easy. Akainu said slowly, keeping his eyes fixed on Marshal Kong, then slowly got up and left his seat. If it wasn't for Zephyr's favoritism, how could Kuzan's strength be ranked in my top 210? In Akainu's heart, Vice Admiral's reason for ranking behind Kuzan this time was attributed to Zephyr's favoritism, and he complained in his heart. In fact, this is completely what Akainu thinks, and it seems that it has been affected by the previous rumors. This celebration banquet is just to commend the contribution in the Crusade of Luyun, and it has absolutely nothing to do with Admiral's promotion ranking. At least in the opinion of Marshal Kong, Zephyr and others, Kuzan saved a lot of marine soldiers in the battle because of his ability to freeze fruit, which made Kuzan in the back. The end. Sengoku, Suru Vice Admiral, Garp and others returned to the scene of the celebration banquet for the award ceremony. The whole banquet was presided over by Marshal Kong, and Gorosei, 5 elders and Deadpool did not appear. As the Gorosei, 5 elders not coming, or hiding, Chinluo has always been concerned about whether there will be Gorosei, 5 elders or Deadpool, especially the Deadpool with space ability. Chinluo has always been on guard. In any case, the long commendation was over, and it was banquet time. I ordered this drink first. The celebration feast was also not peaceful, at least not very harmonious among the supporters of Akainu and Kuzan. With the crackling sound of wine glasses and dishes breaking, there was a loud noise in the square of the banquet hall on the first floor. Everyone present looked at the sound, and there were not many who dared to make trouble on such an occasion. What's the matter? What's the matter? Hey, it looks like Akainu and Kuzan supporters are fighting. Interesting, and lively to watch again. The place where the trouble happened is located in the banquet hall square on the first floor, which is closer to the seats of general-level officers. It can be seen clearly from the second floor or the third floor. 2 marine generals scuffled directly. They were both generals of the fighting technique who followed the marine Rokushiki route. The 2 big-tempered men punched each other with 1 punch and 1 punch. With no use of haki, the fist-to-meat fight turned the surrounding banquet into a mess. This time it happened that Marshal Kong, Zephyr, Sengoku and others were not there, and the top leaders were Kuzan, Akainu and Kizaru. Kizaru didn't need to say it, just pretended that he didn't see it. Kuzan and Akainu also secretly competed through this, and did not intervene, and the rest of Vice Admiral would not touch this bad head. Under this acquiescence, the 2 fighting each other did not intend to stop, but instead tended to fight more and more fiercely. Faluz beat him, punched him in the face. Jock, work hard, hit that idiot across from you. Kuzan and Akainu are still cheering for the 2 of them, hoping to fight in person. The 2 supporters of Kuzan and Akainu Vice Admiral are stupid to die. They don't dare to be ruthless to each other now, and they won't be able to run away when the marshal returns. A captain-level officer next to Chinluo added fuel to the fire generally. Both sides were ridiculed. The captain picture was refreshing for a while, but it instantly offended the supporters on both sides of Kuzan and Akainu. You must know that there are many supporters of the 2 on the second floor. Countless unkind eyes instantly focused on the captain. The captain knew that he had said the wrong thing when he saw something was wrong, so he directly refrained from speaking and silently retreated from the sight of the crowd. This fight didn't last long. At the beginning, the MC went to Marshal Kong and Zephyr when he saw that Kuzan and Akainu were not moving. When the time is stuck, someone should arrive this time. Akainu and Kuzan shot together, and they both met their supporters in a tacit understanding. Kuzan stunned Jock by freezing his feet with ice crystals, and Akainu smashed Faris into the wall and fainted. However, it seems that the shot was neat, but in fact, neither of them was injured but just fainted. Next second, Zephyr pushed the door and entered. What happened? You dare to fight at the celebration banquet? Is this eating the gall of a bear's heart and a leopard? Zephyr scolded and walked towards the place surrounded by the crowd. Seeing Zephyr's arrival, the crowd of onlookers dispersed instantly, leaving the place for the fight vacant. Kuzan, Akainu. Zephyr was surprised. The two generals in the brawl didn't see it, but Kuzan and Akainu were standing at the center of the brawl. It was never Kuzan and Akainu fighting. Mr. Zephyr, the troubled general has been knocked out by me. Kuzan and Akainu said at the same time, seeing each other say the same thing as themselves. Both Kuzan and Akainu looked at each other hostilely. Well, since it's all right, the soldiers will take these two troublemakers down, and someone else will take care of the place, and the banquet will continue. Zephyr is a fine person, so he won't pursue it if Kuzan and Akainu are not in the right situation. After a quick process, they left the banquet hall. It's nothing, thanks to Zephyr's favoritism towards you, Kuzan. Kuzan and Akainu returned to their seats together. Akainu sneered in a tiny voice. I don't know what you're talking about, Akainu. Maybe you should respect your teachers and those who are higher than you. Kuzan looked at Akainu coldly, and said rudely. Akainu has always been brooding about the fact that he just ranked lower than Kuzan. Now Kuzan directly tore the scar on Akainu's face, and the violent Akainu threw a punch at Kuzan. Kuzan blocked Akainu's blow directly with his frosted right hand, and the frost and the magma made a GG sound when they met. Kuzan and Akainu made a lot of movement. The banquet hall ignored their eyes and looked over. Seeing this, Kuzan and Akainu frowned and closed their hands as if nothing happened. However, the conflict between the two was no longer a fight under the table. This scene was watched by too many people, and for a while, there was a dark tide in the banquet hall. Chapter 380 Song of the Siren. However, the conflict between the two was no longer a fight under the table. This scene was watched by too many people, and for a while, there was a dark tide in the banquet hall. Who doesn't know that Zephyr always favored Kuzan in training camp, right? Borsellino. Akainu took out a new cigar and bit it in his mouth, pressing his index finger on the end of the cigar and lighting it. Hey, don't take me with you too. Kizaru saw Akainu bring the words to him, and hurriedly threw it away as if he saw trouble. Hee, Borsellino, you are also very unwilling to put it to the bottom all of a sudden. I said, if you want to fight, don't bring me. Kizaru was a little unwilling in his heart, but it was even more uncomfortable to be called out by Akainu. After speaking, Kizaru got up and left his seat so as not to be questioned by Akainu. I think there will be a chance. Akainu said to himself, and now that Kizaru has left, who else can he tell Kuzan? Exactly what I want. Kuzan, who had been silently eating sashimi without speaking, responded directly. This was the last episode of the banquet, and Marshal Kong and Zephyr returned with Sengoku, Garp, Suru Vice Admiral and others after hearing Sengoku's debriefing. Is it 12 o'clock? It's almost time. The banquet was coming to an end. Chinluo looked at the time and looked at the sea outside. The route has not changed. It seems that the things I arranged can be used. I hope Kong will not let me down. In Chinluo's eyes, the sea in the distance was filled with black mist. At the end of the banquet, even the king of big stomachs can't support it now. The full-fledged Marines were chatting with their companions while watching the dance performance of the female Marine on the commendation stage. This time it was the strongest assembly order to defeat Lu Yun, so naturally the military band in Marine would not be brought. So these female Marine soldiers were borrowed from Suru Vice Admiral, but not every chance to see Suru Vice a performance by a female soldier officer on the Admiral ship. A melodious and crisp song suddenly sounded in the elegant music. What a beautiful voice, which beauty is singing this? This voice, definitely professional, is also the female Marine on board the Suru Vice Admiral. Where is it? Where is it? Let me see it. You can tell it's a beauty just by hearing the sound. Due to the beautiful singing that suddenly sounded, there was a burst of commotion in the banquet hall, and the tune that was being played stopped, so as not to spoil the pleasant singing. Suru, is this also the female soldier on your ship singing? Such a beautiful song, I have never heard of you. The half-drunk Garp suddenly put his hand on Suru Vice Admiral's shoulder. This is not the soldier on my ship who is singing now, and take your dirty elbows away, Garp. Suru Vice Admiral smelled the strong smell of alcohol on Garp's body, and was a little displeased, and slapped Garp's hand away. Yeah, this singing level is too different from the dance just now. It's not like the female Marines on your boat can sing. Because of the alcohol, Garp was completely unobstructed in his speech, and he immediately turned Suru Vice Admiral pissed off. Oh, I'm really sorry, my female soldiers are not good enough to dance, and they stain your eyes. Suru Vice Admiral was trying to control his anger, but Garp didn't notice it at all. It's okay, the dance is not good enough to make up. Your female soldier looks much better than you are now, Garp's words were directly suffocated, because the unbearable Suru Vice Admiral directly punched Garp's lower abdomen. Oh, I'm also curious about which beautiful lady is singing. Marshal Kong, won't you give us a recommendation? I see that the officers below are also curious. Zephyr saw Garp being beaten, and followed the trend in order to soften the atmosphere. Asked Kong. Actually, I don't know. I don't have any impression of singing performances. What's going on with the MC and who is singing? Kong, who was asked by Zephyr, was also blinded and asked the MC next to him. As a result, the MC sweated profusely and said he didn't know either. This is very interesting. The sound came from outside. I'll go out and take a look first. A yellow light flashed past Kizaru, who was talking, and disappeared from the banquet hall. In this case, let's go out and see which female soldier sings so well. Zephyr got up with a smile and walked towards the deck outside the banquet hall. Zephyr and Kizaru taking the lead, the marine generals who were about to move out one after another, Chinluo simply followed in the crowd. Most marine generals looked impatient to see the big beauty singing, or were indifferent like Kuzan, Akainu, Kong, but Sengoku had a solemn look on his face. What's the matter, Sengoku? Suru Vice Admiral noticed Sengoku's strangeness, and it's not enough if he didn't pay attention. After the death of Zi Luyun, Sengoku's strangeness was too frequent. Suru, don't you think this song is too strange? It's clearly coming from outside, but it's so clear and sweet. Sengoku expressed his doubts. You mean devil fruit power? No, if I guess right, it's that kind of legendary creature. Sengoku narrowed his eyes as if thinking of something and then said, forget it, let's go out and see where it is. Suru Vice Admiral nodded, and walked to the deck with Garp, who was screaming and wanted to go out. When Zephyr and the others arrived on the deck, they found that not only General Marine on their warship, but also soldiers on other warships were standing on the deck facing the sea listening to the song. Borsellino, where's the singer? Zephyr asked aloud, seeing Kizaru standing in front of the deck. It was Kizaru's raised right hand that answered Zephyr, pointing straight at the sea ahead. The singing was indeed coming from in front of Marine, and Zephyr looked in the direction Kizaru pointed, even though he was puzzled. I saw that under the gloomy gecko, in front of the Marine fleet was a boundless fog, and in the fog, I could vaguely see countless beautiful women singing mercilessly at sea. Beautiful singing, beautiful body, and mysterious atmosphere bring fatal temptation and irresistible curiosity to those who meet. Mermaid, Zephyr was certain. This isn't a mermaid, if I'm not mistaken, this is the legendary merman. Sengoku's voice came from behind. The merman. Many people have heard Sengoku's words, but what is a merman? I'll put it another way and you'll know that this is the sea monster from the sea legends. It relies on its singing and looks to attract sailors who pass by, and use it as food to hunt and kill monsters in the sea. In the still night sky, Sengoku's voice traveled far, causing a horrified gasp.